Show, the original multi-club fan channel. Make sure you're following us now on Spotify and Apple Podcast. The link is in the description below. Welcome back to the Top 6 show. It's Friday. We've got another installment of amazing Premier League games, and we're again sponsored by our friends at BetMGM. So get yourself signed up to Golden Goals right now. If you're in the UK and over the age of 18, we're playing it later, and with your chance of winning 2 million, I repeat, 2 million pounds if you get all 6 prediction scores correct this forthcoming weekend. We've got an amazing panel for you tonight with Staffy. We have Kate back with us. Rory's here. LB is back in the house, and Don is here. As we preview this weekend's football, we have a little look back at the last few games as well. It's been an epic week. It genuinely has been an absolutely epic week. We're very, very excited about it indeed. Leaderboard, though. I'm going to put the leaderboard up first. This is where we currently sit when it comes to Golden Goals predictions. KJ still top. I'm second. LB there in third. Rory down there on 0. He's only played 1 week, though. He's been poorly. Kate just on 1. Gone up the table a little bit, but that's the leaderboard as it stands right now. And let us know in the comment section if you've got more correct than KJ, me, and LB. Where to start today? I wanted to start with Man United, actually, because that ain't going to be the biggest talking point. I'll get that out of the way nice and early. Staffy, are we going to beat Bournemouth tomorrow after our mini resurgence against Chelsea midweek? What are you saying?
Hey, from the looks of it, we were talking earlier in the chat. KJ made a very good point. We've done the treble this month. You know, manager of the month, player of the month, goal of the month. You know, we almost went for the quad. You know, if Onana picked up save of the month, I'd be sitting here singing, quad. You'll never sing that. But unfortunately, it doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. And I was saying this to my group chat earlier. If we're gonna go by that metric, and just currently the best manager of the league, but they're no longer in the top 4, so we're not gonna make anything of these awards that have been awarded today. It's something small to celebrate for whoever wants to celebrate it, but it's not for me. Listen, we're coming off a good win, good performance, and we need to carry on from there, because that's probably we spoke about this obviously after the game on the match reaction here. We said that was arguably our best performance in the season besides that Palace game. That was against a C team, so we didn't really take that one seriously. But listen, Chelsea, as much as they're not good this season, they're still a top team with top players, and they've seen results against big teams this season. The likes of Liverpool, Spurs, City, obviously, and Arsenal. So we were one of the few teams to get a result from them. And now we're going into Bournemouth, who's a very good team. Fun fact, they have the same amount of goals as us this season. Which is pretty shocking to think that 15 games in, big Man United have the same amount of goals as Bournemouth. But it's going to be a good game. I think Bournemouth are a good team. Solanke is a very good striker. He's been doing well this season, so he's going to be someone to watch out to. Rumors are that Rashford is not going to be in the squad tomorrow due to injury. Lindelof is out, but Varane is back in. We're going to see if the manager can get the same 11 to play again, because we've known that he tends to play to pick players based on a little bit of favoritism, and I don't know if Rashford will be available. It would have been interesting to see if he was available, to see if he's going to bring him back in or not, because Anthony's been playing well. Garnacho has been playing decent. Strikers are not so much. So many of our players are doing somewhat okay, and it's interesting to see who's he going to pick tomorrow. But it's very important to go and get a result, because right after that, there's no break. We have Bayern right away midweek in a must-win Champions League win, and then you got Liverpool. This is technically the easiest game. It's not an easy game, but it's one of the easiest games that we have in this current form. So you don't want to start that form of games, that run of games against Bayern and Liverpool with anything other than a win at home. So it'll be interesting to see.
Rory, do you feel United were good in large parts against Chelsea? Do you think that they can get 2 performances on the bounce of that level, or do you think this will be another disaster in terms of results for United? Do you think they'll slip up again?
I definitely think they're capable of doing it again. I think the big thing for me is that Ten Hag has to pretty much stick with that team if he can. I think the changes, like if he brings back in Rashford, for example, I think that writes off what he did against Chelsea. So if he sticks with that team, it's a good chance for them to build. I mean, a little bit of momentum with 2 wins. Obviously, Bournemouth are in decent form, so I'm not writing Bournemouth off completely. But you'd hope at Old Trafford, crowd behind them, get a win under their belts, and then it gives them something to take into Bayern and Liverpool.
What's the rest of the panel think about this game? Do you think United will do it, or does anyone see a real banana skin here and another setback for Ten Hag?
I don't know. Maybe. I think it's going to be a tricky game. Like Rory said, they're in some good form, aren't they, Bournemouth? But United need to. They've been doing all right in terms of results in the league. You know what I mean? They're one of the most teams in the league, and if they win, there's a good chance that they can maybe make their way towards 5th. You know what I mean? Possibly joint points with City if things don't go right.
Yeah.
A Hojlund goal. You know what I mean? When are we going to start talking about a Hojlund? You know what I mean? When's he going to start turning up and putting the ball in the back?
We can start talking about it. I have no issue.
I think, do you know what? When it comes to Hojlund, every week I'm like, please just get that goal. I think the reason that there hasn't been as big a conversation is because he's one of the top goal scorers in the Champions League. And I think that scoring 5 in the Champions League has definitely helped him. I think his overall play has been pretty decent for us in terms of his hold up and bringing other people in. But he does need to, I think once he starts bagging some goals in the Prem, you'll see an even better player from him. I think he's done okay for Man United this year. It's just, I predicted 15 goals in all comps from him. And, he's a third of the way there. I just can't believe he hasn't scored in the Premier League. It really annoys me. And some of the time it's been even the great chance, the goal for McTominay. I just think to myself, how are we not putting crosses into him like that? We don't seem to have found him at all. Maybe it's his movement. So you could look at blaming him, but I do think you're right. I think he needs to start scoring in the Premier League soon as well. But the Champions League goals is probably what stopped there being a big conversation about him personally.
If you notice his movement, Terry, though, he's a player that, don't be mistaken because he's tall. He is a tall player. But if you look at his runs, you look at the way he plays, he more times than not asks for the ball to feet, which is why McTominay is actually benefiting a lot from it, because a lot of the crosses that misses him, and his movement is very good, and he grabs a defender or 2 with him, it kind of creates that space in behind for someone who, funny enough, as much as I don't rate McTominay, that's one thing he's very good at. He finds himself in spaces where he can be that second striker crashing into the box and scoring. Funny enough, I said he's actually doing what Arsenal fans described Kai Havertz as in the summer, when they said he's going to be that extra body in the box, going to the far post and stuff like that. That's technically what McTominay is doing. If you look at all his goals, most of them have been either tap-ins or headers because of his movement into the box, but he benefits massively off having a striker in there. So it's not like McTominay is a striker. He's just benefiting off playing off a striker. So I think, listen, to me, Hojlund has done good in his all-around game. But at the end of the day, let's be very honest. You don't spend 70 million to get a striker who just moves and presses and links up play. All that is nice, but I'm not going to sit here and not give the same energy to my striker because I rate him.
I don't think you can say he's done good, though. You can't say he's done good.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Listen, if you hear that again, I said he's done good in his all-round play, but at the end of the day, he still needs to score goals. So I can't sit here and say it was a successful signing unless you start putting the ball in the back of the net. Because pressing is good, linking up play is good, making runs, making moves, all that is good. But I still need you as a 70 million signing striker to put the ball at the back of the net. So whether it's you accommodating to your teammates or your teammates accommodating to what's your best ability, and playing it a little bit how you need the ball to be played to you, whatever it is, that needs to be fixed. Because at the end of the day, you were signed here to do all that stuff that you do, but the main job was to put goals. And you can't get away too far without scoring goals.
The thing is, I still think 10 or 11 games or whatever it is still it's a small sample size. And I looked at United against Chelsea. Rasmus Hojlund looked a lot better than Nicholas Jackson. Like, if you're looking long term, what sort of striker you're looking for,
I agree.
Rasmus Hojlund is going to be a far better player than Jackson, even though Jackson's got 6 or 7 goals in the Premier League already. It's one of those where it's obviously it's an important stat, but this early on, I think you've just got to watch the way that they play.
I think this is a good game for him to actually get some goals, man, because Bournemouth, they don't play a low block. They're going to come out and play. It's a little bit of ping pong football when you play against them. So this, if Hojlund wants to get on the score sheet there, this would be a good game to get a goal or 2, man, because Bournemouth, they are wide open how they play, man, honestly.
No, I agree. And when we played Luton at home, I thought that. And then their goalie pulled off against him 2 absolutely astronomical saves, which you just wouldn't expect a goalkeeper to make. And you just think to yourself, where's your luck? He needs a little bit of that. But we know he can finish. We've seen him do it internationally. We've seen him do it in the Champions League. The one thing I just don't think we've done enough for him is given him those strikers' chances. And listen, Haaland gets so many per game. If we could just get a third of those to Hojlund, he'd have scored some goals. The chances Jackson gets, like he hasn't had one chance in the Premier League, Hojlund, like the Jackson chance against Man United, not one. You know, we haven't created one chance like that.
To be fair, that Luton one he should have scored because he does have 8 big chances missed technically. That's on.
Yeah, I mean, again, but there's I think you should have scored that. At the same time, if your goalkeeper saves that, you say save of the season. So it's one of those things, you know, where some players are missing chances, but they're missing targets. They're like actually missing open goals. And that for me is a lot different from a goalie. So Haaland the other day, when he had that double chance in the 11th minute, I don't view that as a miss. I view that as absolute world-class goalkeeping. That's not a miss. Haaland did everything right, but the goalkeeper pulled off saves you couldn't believe. Look how many saves Vicario has made this season. That's not poor striking. That's world-class goalkeeping.
Yeah.
If Hojlund had these chances and was kicking it over, tripping over the ball, bad controls leading to him get tackled, that would worry me a lot more, in my opinion. But no, I do think he's got to start scoring some goals. I think there's a happy medium here. But I think we'll win, actually. And we'll get our score predictions on this game a little bit later when we do golden goals, people. We'll take all of yours then as well. Another big game this weekend, huge game this week. Well, it's not really a big game in terms of the match itself, but no win now in 4 for Man City. LB, you guys were absolutely, in my opinion, it's the best performance I've seen a Premier League team put in against City on Wednesday night. Villa 1-0 was a flattering scoreline. The fact you didn't have a shot after the 11th minute, I couldn't believe it when I read it, even though I'd been watching the game. You've got Luton, so it's likely to be a win. But what is wrong with Man City right now? Because you do look a shadow of yourselves from last season over the past 4 games.
I think there's a lot wrong with us. I think midfield is completely lost. And I think the midfield is basically the root cause of our whole issues. Defending, we're not defending properly. Going forward, we're not attacking properly. And I put it down to the midfield. Obviously, Villa was a madness for me. That was probably for me the worst performance I've seen under Pep Guardiola. And we've had some stinkers, especially in the early parts. We had a lot of players out, so we're getting a lot of them back for Luton Town, which is good news. But yeah, I just think we need to sort the midfield out, man. We're forcing Alvarez into there. Started off the season well. He was getting goals. He was getting assists. I think he probably would have been everyone's top 3, top 4 players in the Premier League first 5 or 6 match days. And then it just sort of like stopped working. And he's sticking with him. He's sticking with him for some reason. I'm not 100% sure. I think he needs to drop Walker. Personally, I'd be dropping Walker, even though he's captain. Will he do that? Don't know. It's going to take a lot of balls because he begged him to stay. And now you got to drop him. I would give Guardiola a rest and bring in Ake. I'd play Foden in the middle. I'd put Doku on the right, Grealish on the left. So there's a lot of changes that I'd make. But I think if you make those changes with John Stones and Rodri in the middle, I'd be more than confident at getting the win. I'm just not confident Pep Guardiola's going to do that. I think he's going to stick with Alvarez. I think he'll stick with Walker, probably stick with Guardiola. And the midfield, I mean, the midfield's just a bit of a mess at the moment with Alvarez in there. He's just not offering us anything. We're almost playing with 10 men. I mean, don't want to hate on the guy because I like him, and it's not his fault because he's a striker. You know, you put any player in the Premier League out of position, it's probably not their fault. So, yeah, there's a lot wrong. We're in a bit of I wouldn't say we're in a crisis, but we're heading for one certainly. And Luton, man, I'm not delusional. I know Luton's gonna be tough, mate. Yeah, I mean, I'm not an idiot.
You think it'll be tough?
Bro, come on, man. They scraped a win through Spurs. They only just beat Liverpool. Liverpool got a draw against them. Rory's team, Arsenal, they got a 96-minute winner. And they were actually very good on the day. Ross Barkley was class. So, yeah, man, I'm preparing myself for a tough game. Absolutely. And I don't care.
Even we struggle against them, LB. Even though it was at home, we only managed to score 1 against them. You know, they were defending very well against us. They're a very resilient team.
They're a very good team. And you know what? Why they're so good is because they know their position. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. But if you look at like Burnley, right, they've come up and they try to play this mint football. It's just not working, man, because you ain't got the quality of players. Whereas Luton, I feel like Luton are they're and again, this is not meant to be disrespectful, but they're playing a style which suits them, and they're doing well, and they're going to have a chance of surviving if they can just get a little bit like a rubber to green. So yeah, the one good thing is they put a lot of effort in against Arsenal. They put a hell of a lot. So I'm hoping they're a little bit tired. But yeah, man, I'm expecting a tough game for real.
They're playing at home again, innit, for this one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was it a tough game? Were they that good against Arsenal, or did two horrendous Raya mistakes flatter the scoreline?
I thought Luton Town were very, very good. And yes, Raya made a couple of mistakes, but if you looked at the defending for the Arsenal goals, they were equally as bad. You know what I mean? So we can flip it on the other side. I mean, I thought they were fantastic. You know what I mean? Arsenal struggled in parts to create actual solid chances. Thought Ross Barkley was absolutely incredible in that midfield. Really give the Arsenal midfield a bit of a run around. I thought they were great. I thought in the end Arsenal did fantastic to get out there with the 3 points, because on another day they could have easily dropped 2 there. I thought they were brilliant, me.
Yeah, I thought we got a bit lucky, to be fair. It's just in terms of like we scored 4 goals, but it didn't feel like a game. Like we didn't have that many, like you said, clear-cut chances to score that many goals. They defended, apart from a couple of mistakes, they defended well. So, yeah, LB, do you worry about the recruitment at City at the moment in terms of Wednesday you're playing a midfield 3 of a centre-back, a full-back, and a striker, but you've got 3 central midfielders all sat on the bench?
Yeah, some of the right questions.
Okay, so yes and no. Kovacic and Nunes had only just come back, so I can only imagine that Pep, and so was John Stones. I can only imagine that Pep didn't want to throw John Stones into midfield, Nunes into midfield, and Kovacic when they've all literally just come back from injury. The main issues that we had this summer is that probably the biggest mistake my club's made, transfer-wise, is not giving Gundogan the contract that he wanted. That is just absolutely horrendous. We can all agree on the panel. That is just stupid. He wanted a 2-year, 3-year contract. We only offered him a 1. Absolutely unbelievably stupid. And Mahrez, yes, Mahrez wanted to leave, but so did Walker. Some City fans forget this. Oh, when I say we shouldn't have let Mahrez go, yeah, but LB, Mahrez wanted to leave, so we couldn't have let him. We couldn't. So did Walker. Walker wanted to go to Bayern Munich. What happened? Pep Guardiola took him out to Manchester, wined and dined him. Guy signed a new contract. We could have done the same to Mahrez. So that was a mistake as well. I think with the midfielders, we got a little bit unlucky because we chased Jude Bellingham all year, all summer, which we had to do because everyone's seen that he's tearing it up. The problem is we didn't get a yes or no decision for him until too late. So by the time he said no, Rice had already agreed to join Arsenal, which is my understanding of what happened. Maddison had already basically agreed to go to Spurs. We then went for Paqueta. What can you do about that? That's unlucky. By that time, you're on plan E with Nunes. So I think Bellingham screwed us. You know what I mean? That's really sort of screwed our transfer window. But listen, I'm not moaning, man. We've still got a good enough midfield. And I think, Rory, for me, once we get Kevin De Bruyne, once we get Rodri, John Stones all back into that midfield, I'm confident we can go on. Unfortunately, until they're all clicking, it's going to be difficult. I don't know if you've seen it though. There's a thing flying around Twitter today. The next 5 matches in December, City statistically have the easiest fixtures out of any team in the Premier League. Yes, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we get maximum points.
Chelsea have got the second easiest, but we know what that means. L's. But yeah, no, you have got a fairly on paper an easy run, but you miss a game as well because obviously the World Club Championship. So very important that you win tomorrow because you suddenly you drop points again. And if Liverpool and Arsenal were to win, and we'll get onto those games a bit later, suddenly there's a big gap between you and the top, and there's at least 2 teams that are in between you, and you're just not as good as last year. And part of that is because of who's left, and the players that have come in are just not. Pep has been so good in the market at City, but he seems to have got it wrong so far this time round, if that makes sense. It just which happens. Every great manager has bought duds and got rid of the wrong players at some point, and it. Just for you guys, it just seems a shame that it's happened now.
Yeah. Like I say, I think just going for Bellingham thrown us off because we stuck in for him till the end. You know what I mean? We wanted to stick in there, and we didn't get the no answer until late on. And by that time, all the other players had gone. Arsenal had already got Rice over the line, is my understanding. That's why City pulled out of the deal straight away because they were ready to go on the next deal. My understanding is they were ready to go for the next deal. But Rice didn't give City the okay because he kind of already said yes to Arsenal. So by that time, we were screwed. You can say we got unlucky on Paqueta. Of course, we did. You can't do anything about that. You know what I mean? But hey, this is what happens. You miss out
What
on your first
happened with Eze again? What happened with Eze again? Because I know you lot
I
were
don't-
linked.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think City were like that's when we got to like Plan E, bro, and we were just like, yo, who are we getting here? Nunes.
He would have been better than
Eze.
Nunes. He would have been better for Nunes in terms of output. He would have definitely been better.
I
Than
think
Nunes.
so as well. I don't understand Nunes. I said it as soon as we signed him. I think he's a good player. I like it. I think he's a good player. I just don't understand where he's going to play in my team. I'm not saying he's bad.
Makes sense. Kate, from your point of view, how happy were you to see City lose midweek?
Why would I be happy, Terry? What are you insinuating?
I'm just asking. Just
I was
a question.
delighted. I was delighted.
Kate, we're probably just going off the text messages that you sent in the chat. Probably. That's just my assumption. I think Terry saw that and assumed that was you being happy. But just say.
I was delighted. I kind of hope that there's a little bit of like that the players and the club, there's a little bit of edginess about these pending charges hanging over the club. I don't believe that if you've got 115 pending charges, there isn't going to be a little bit of unrest in the camp. And I find that just so satisfying. I
mean,
can't
we
help
won the treble. We won the treble last year with them over our
Yeah, but
heads,
you
so I
did.
don't think...
Yeah, but you won it because you took your cheats. That's you're
No,
always
but maybe
gonna
we are
won.
cheats. Maybe we are
Here
cheats.
we go
But
again.
the
Part two.
point is,
You know what?
you just
Can
said
I just
it's
say
over our
this?
head, but we did win the treble last year.
I did a show on this the other day. This
Done.
is the trouble with modern day football fans, right? And I'm not including. I'm not. Cheers. I'm not including. I'm not including every football fan in this. But what I'm saying is, right, young fans now, and this is a really sad reflection on modern day society, do not care how they win as long as they win. They don't care that their clubs are cheats because, we won the treble. Yes, but you cheated. Now, I don't want to sound like a really old granny, but years ago, that mattered. If you were a cheat, you were a cheat. That's it. These days, younger fans don't give a crap. They just want bragging rights because they can say, we won this, we won that. I don't care how we win it. My club won it. I don't care where this money came from that bought this player, that player, this player. We won this. And it's just a sad reflection of society. But it will all come crashing down eventually on City, and I can't wait. I've got the popcorn ready. Cannot wait.
Viewers, do us a big favor and hit like button. Make sure you're subscribing. There's a super chat for you here, Kate, that says, can Kate please say, I love you, Frank Butcher?
I don't know how Butcher talks. How does she talk?
Like you.
I love you, Frank Butcher.
That was quite good. That was quite good.
You do. This is from Debbie that says, I just wanted to say thank you, Kate, for giving young Daniel that reality check.
I have a confirmation also that young Daniel told me he's going on loan in Man City this season.
Oh no, did he?
I have proof of it. So
I also want to say about Kate as well. This is a message to Joey Barton. Kate is not here out of tokenism. Kate's very good when it comes to speaking football. So just there we go. Hello, Joey. Hope you're all right, mate. He's been a bit weird this week, isn't he, that man? Very weird.
I'd like him to come and say it to my face. Come on, Joey Barton.
He wouldn't.
Get him on, Terry.
Okay, listen. I'll invite him. He won't come on because he doesn't want clout from places like us. He wants. I don't know what he thinks he's going to achieve from what he's doing. It's just not going to work. Anyway, we'll come back to the Arsenal stuff a little bit later. Erik ten Hag survived El Shitico. The fraud continues. That's actually funny. Ron says, found out this week McTominay used to be a striker. All these goals make sense. Yeah, like playing him as a centre-back was mad, considering he used to be a striker. Makes a lot of sense. They'll come back to that one. They'll come back to the Villa one. Staffy needs his own straight fact show, Terry, 100%. Maybe.
Hojlund Kabaki, listen, I give you straight facts on every show I go on. So just having me on an episode of straight facts wouldn't change anything. You know, when you see me, you see straight facts on a daily. But big up Hojlund Kabak. What a guy.
Zizou here says, after winning the treble, City don't look determined as determined as before. Do you see that, Lou? Do you see like a difference in sort of attitude from your players at all?
I don't know, man. I just think we just look off the pace. But we always look off the pace at this part of the season. So it's difficult to sort of say whether it's because we won the treble or whether it's just because we're just doing the standard stuff. So I don't know, really. It's difficult to say. There
we go. Nitsu here says, for Kate, you speak my mind. Too smart to be a Spurs supporter, though. There we go. I might hand this little bit over to Lewis because I don't know if you guys all watched that Man United Chelsea match reaction, but Don obviously came on and admitted that they are in a crisis after Manchester United beat them. How bad, Lewis, is the Chelsea crisis in your opinion?
Well, we knew last week that Chelsea were in a crisis. Don wanted to sit there and say that they're not in a crisis, even though they were mid-table, which was a shocking sort of statement for me, for a club that spent £1 billion, for a club that's won multiple Champions Leagues, multiple Premier Leagues. You know, you'd call yourself the pride of London. So to be 10th, that was a crisis. And it took a defeat from Manchester United for you to jump ship. Bro, your club is a mess. I've said this. Your club is a mess. Your whole project is failing before our very eyes. And I think it's going to get worse before it gets any better, to be honest with you. I'm glad you've now seen the light and that you are now accepting that you are now in a crisis, because you've been in a crisis for a long time. But I don't see where it gets any better from here. I think you've got an average manager. Pochettino is an average manager. You've got an average set of players. You've got some very bad players that wouldn't even get in the City team, Arsenal team, Liverpool team, maybe even the Villa team. And I think it needs a lot more money thrown at it, which is wild because you spent £1 billion. But I'm now glad, Don, that you have joined us in the crisis room, because that is where you should be, bro.
I want to ask this question to the panel. Have Chelsea bought a lot of players with good potential and big names, but in reality, could it be that some of them just are not as good as the hype and Twitter suggested they were? Is that a possibility, Rory?
Yeah, 100%. Like, look at the amount of young players, young promising players that all the top clubs buy. Like, half of them never actually amount to what you hope they're going to amount to. The difference is you normally buy like one or two every few years. And so if they don't work out, you've still got the rest of the players around. So like, I just use like Fabio Vieira as an example for Arsenal. Like, that hasn't worked out well yet, but we didn't buy 10 Fabio Vieiras and try and build a team out of it. So when you have half of those players that aren't fulfilling their potential, and when you've got just no proper experience around them, like, I just think it's a recipe for a disaster. They've tried it, and I think at this point, I know, yeah, fine, they've got Lavia and Nkunku to come back, but at this point, it's just not worked well. Like, they've accumulated less points than Everton this season. It's a shambles.
Yeah, if Everton hadn't had the 10-point deduction, they'd be ahead of Chelsea by 1 point, which I was only looking at those stats today when we were recording the breakfast show with Rumble earlier on today. It's crazy. And like, from your point of view, Kate, obviously Chelsea's are big rivals of yours, and a lot of their fans are still backing what they're doing, still talking about the football looks nice, the football looks pretty, but they keep flopping and getting these poor results. How do you see it turning around? Do you agree with Lewis? Do you think there's a long road back still, or are they on the edge of kind of clicking into gear, in your opinion?
Well, they're another bunch of potential cheats, but I won't go into that as well. Thing is with Chelsea, right? They bring in someone like Poch. Poch loves to work with young players, but it seems that Chelsea go out looking for young players, and the higher the price tag, the better they just automatically assume they're going to be. So they just buy up all these players for ridiculous money. But I think it's going to take them a long, long time to get back to where they were. They've had a massive fall from grace. And, you know, I listen to fans like Minerals, God love him, he makes me laugh. But, you know, their standards might be up here, but their squad is down here now, and it's going to take a long time. Poch, you know, he probably is an overrated manager, because really in this, like, he's not really done anything, let's be fair, in this league. But I do think he is the right manager for them to develop the team and bring through the youngsters. But like I say, I think they're a long way off it. When you look at Chelsea play and then you watch like Arsenal, Liverpool play, there's a massive gulf of difference, you know. And
George here with Super Chat, I've got to read this out. He says 1 billion Chelsea team, and John Joe Fernandez, Caicedo, obese Injuries James, Action Janet Jackson, Ukraine Bolt, Axel Disaster Class, Kucheria, and Carnier East in goal. That's pretty creative, to be fair. I quite like some of them. The Reece James one, obese Injuries James. That's madness. But I'm going to Staffy first. Do you think they've got a lot of overhyped youngsters in this squad? Do you think that's a fair breakdown, and maybe a big reason as to why they're just not getting into a run of form this year?
You know what it is? I gave this a second thought, Because in the beginning, I said, listen, they have a lot of young players. They spent all this money for the future, not for now. And I'm understanding what they're trying to do. But I had to rethink this the other day because I don't know. Most of these guys came in last January, okay? These guys that came in, let's use Enzo as an example because I believe he came in January. So he's about to hit a year, almost a year with Chelsea. And I could swear the guy in the Premier League doesn't even have double-digit wins yet in 2 seasons. You know, obviously it's a half and half, but still, that's a lot of games played that he's lost. And this guy is a World Cup winner. I thought about this and I'm like, okay, you want to build for the future, but when you historically look at successful teams, usually they bring in young players, but they always had great players in that team, and that team was somewhat good or really good, and they kind of bedded in nicely. When you look at the class in '92 with United, they came in and there was great players already in that team. It made it easier for them when you're playing in a team and Cantona's there and there's big players there that kind of nurture you there. It's easier to come in a team that's already playing good and they're winning and you kind of like fit in. If I'm Enzo and I'm winning a World Cup and I'm playing next to Messi and them and everyone in my country rates me, but then I go to Chelsea and everyone there is putting the expectations on me and the pressure on me and I'm not winning, at some point I'm going to start having self-doubt. And I don't think he's a bad player, by the way. But at some point, as a young player, I'm going to start to have self-doubt because why is it not working here, but it worked for me somewhere else? And that's not just him. Everyone that you guys brought in, because I think the quota was you guys were signing players mainly under 24 years old. So Disasi and them and everyone who came in, they're not winning. They're not playing good football. This is probably the worst era I've seen of Chelsea in my lifetime.
Facts.
And these players are going to look at it. They're going to be like, why are we not good? Maybe these players are good. They're just not good together because they all came in at the same time. And the project itself, we have never seen a project like that. We haven't seen a project youth like that, especially that it's not just a project youth of promoting players. No, these are players that you bought in. And the Chelsea fans that now want Poch sacked, I understand 100% why they want him sacked because some of these Chelsea fans have seen the glory days. I mean, the glory days wasn't that far behind, so most of them have seen the glory days, okay? But here's the thing. These young players are about to go through, a fourth manager? They were there for Potter. They were there for Lampard. They're here for Poch, and you want another manager in. Now, as a 20-year-old or a 21-year-old, how does that benefit my growth, my stability in the club, and my future in this club if I've had 4 different managers, one including one as an interim, and they all probably play different styles of play because they're not all identical? So how are you adding so much instability at a club and in a team when it's supposed to be project youth, but everything around them is not? You're not giving them the correct platform to succeed. And just to go back to what you asked, Terry, I think most of these players were overrated because we all sit here. If I send you a compilation, I'm like, yo, Terry, we're looking at this player to sign him next summer. You're going to look at him. You're going to get excited. You're going to see a few flashes of him in the Brazilian league or the Dutch league or whatever hell that player is. But it doesn't mean that he's going to come in and do that right away. They overrated a lot of these players that came in and they thought, listen, let's just put them all together and 90% of them are going to hit. And like Rory said, young players come in. What is the likelihood of you sign 5 players? What is the likelihood of all 5 of them to be a hit? It doesn't really happen that much. You look at all of our clubs. City had Foden. Name me another youth product that came in and really hit the ground running in recent years with City. Not a lot of them. United, when's the last time we had a player come in like that? Rashford and then Greenwood. And obviously we know what happened with Greenwood. We haven't had a lot like that. So the likelihood of you just buying a bunch of youngsters and all of them work, it doesn't happen. So they put themselves in such a bad situation. And to be fair, I'm sorry to say this, a lot of these Chelsea fans deserve it. They really do. Because they thought, listen, we grew up in the Roman era. We won. We have standards. We're going to win because our name is Chelsea. I'll tell you something. It took me a while to finally realize that I'm not going to win league titles because my name is Manchester United. I had to reach a level where I understood the competition around me is different. The way teams are around me, built around me, they're built different. Their projects are better than ours. They're more stable clubs than ours. A lot of them were so arrogant that said, "Oh, just because Roman is gone, it doesn't mean that we're not going to win again." How do you know that? What's the success that you've seen besides in the Roman era. So unfortunately, this is not for anyone who's not deluded. I'm not really taking a dig at all Chelsea fans, but some of them deserve this reality check. Because when I had people like Judge Mo sit on this very platform and tell me every week, oh, I've seen a better future for Chelsea. Oh, I've seen a style of play for Chelsea. Oh, when they get their injuries back, they're going to do something. It didn't do nothing. It didn't do nothing, and you need to hold that out. Because I told you that project looks so unstable that it's not just going to work like that. You know, let's get Nkunku back. Let's get Badiashile back. Let's get this player back and that player back. And all of a sudden we're going to win. It doesn't happen like that. They can have all their players fit, but have they ever all played together? Have they ever put a form together and picked up some wins together? Have they all fought for the manager together when the results weren't good? Have they been through the ups and downs together? No, they haven't. So they're so far away from being a good team. And it's just the reality that they're in.
Jem here, one of our members and panelists, he ain't been on for a while, but I hope you're well, Jem, says, how can you overrate young players? That's to you, Staffy.
As a fan or as a club? Well, clearly your club overrated them because you spent world record-breaking fees for the likes of Enzo and Caicedo and them. I mean, Cole Palmer, I rate him, but you paid $45 million for an academy product. That's just a few examples. When I say overrate them, it's because some of you guys thought, listen, now that we got Poch in, and by the way, I'm not going to sit here and be a hypocrite. I said that you guys should hire Poch, so I'm not going to go back on that. I said that early in the summer. I said Poch was the right signing. When I say overrate them, is that you think the minute you get a manager in, and he does have a track history of working with young players like he did in Spurs, and we're all automatically going to get top 5. Now, if Jem didn't say that, then that doesn't apply to him. But I've heard that a lot, and a lot of them said we will be in the title, not the title race, in the top 4 or top 5 race. We will be ahead of the likes of Newcastle, United, and them. So clearly, some of your fan base overrated them.
All I'm hearing, I'm hearing a lot of blame on the young players. At the end of the day, I've spoken about the players. Yeah, they take responsibility because a lot of the games that we've lost this season, like I've said, we haven't been clinical in front of goal. I can take it back to Jackson missing an open goal against Nottingham Forest. If we had Hojlund, he buries that goal. Do you know what I'm saying? So the players take accountability when it comes to certain games where they've missed chances. Poch has set us up correctly. The owners, again, they went too extreme with it. You know, I kept banging on about it in summer. I would love experience. But at the end of the day, they didn't go down that route. So I had to look at the situation and say, right, how can we deal with this situation? And one way of doing that was bringing in a guy like Pochettino, who's got a proven record of developing young players at Spurs and seeing what he can do with these young players. But end of the day, bro, I'm disappointed with Poch so far. I'm so disappointed with this guy because he's doing things that I never expected him to do. You know, I was one guy that was looking at all the managers that we were linked to at the time. We had Nagelsmann, you had Enrique, obviously Pochettino. Looking at our team right now, you guys can see that we're not ready to win right now. We've got a lot of young players that need to be developed and nurtured. Players like Mudryk, do you know what I'm saying? You've got players like Madueke, players like Jackson. These are all young, raw players. So they need to be nurtured properly. And right now, Pochettino is not doing the things that he needs to be doing as a manager. You know, from playing guys out of position. What was the need to play Enzo as a 10 and playing Gallagher in the pivot majority of the season? What was the need of wasting time playing Ben Chilwell at left wing? What's the need of playing Levi at left back when you've got guys like Maatsen who can actually play that role and did that role well against Brighton? So a lot of the games this season, I have to look at our setup. Like when I'm looking at the United game, bro, Caicedo didn't play as a lone 6 at Brighton. He always had someone next to him. When I'm watching the other day, you've got Caicedo playing in a lone 6. You've got Enzo playing as a 10. You've got Palmer playing as the deepest man. We basically played a 4-3-3. He had Cole Palmer playing as an 8. He had Levi playing at left back again. These are all things that aren't going to help young players because end of the day, young players are very fragile. Yeah. And the only way they're going to develop and the only way they're going to get better is if you, number one, as a basic, is play a balanced lineup and then you build from there. But week after week, I'm seeing a different pairing at the back. I'm seeing Thiago Silva and Disasi. I'm seeing Badiashile and Thiago Silva. I'm seeing Levi at left back. I'm seeing this and that. And every single time Poch messes up tactically, he always runs away and starts talking about injuries. Oh, we're missing Lavia. Oh, we're missing Nkunku. Oh, we're missing this guy. I haven't come on here once and complained about injuries once. Because end of the day, we've got one game a week. Yeah, we've got a very deep squad. Yeah, very lucky with the squad that we've got right now. We've got more than enough to be playing guys in their natural position. And Pochettino keeps going away from that. So end of the day, as much as the players have been missing these chances, we have to look at Poch. He has not been good enough, right, so far at Chelsea. We're 4 months in and a guy still doesn't know his strongest 11. I don't know whether he's looking at these guys and he's trying to be a friend to them, like, oh, Levi, I'm going to give you some game time. No, you're at Chelsea now. You need to be ruthless and say, listen, You need to play in your natural position, but I'm going to start Badia Shield for this game. So, Maatsen, I'm going to put you there. What was the need of putting him on against Mitoma? He played very well. The next game, he gets dropped. You're playing a imbalanced back four. Do you know what I'm saying? So, he's making problems for himself. Like Gemma said there, he's making a lot of problems for himself, and this does not help the young players. If that was Lampard that was managing us against United the other day, or Potter, every single person here would be looking at the manager and saying, yo, what happened there? Because everyone played badly. Yeah, I can't excuse the little 3-yard passes, Sterling not being able to drive past his man or diving in the box. That's on the players. But end of the day, everyone was bad. And a lot of that was the way that we were set up. And I've seen a recurring theme with how we've been set up in a lot of games. You know, when we were set up correctly against Arsenal, when we boxed in that midfield, look how we played. We played very well. The same thing against Man City, the way we set up, we played very well. But every single time we take 2 steps forward, the guy does something completely different the following week. So I have to look at Poch, bro, and he's not helping these young players. He's doing the complete opposite of what we brought him in for. And like I've said, for me, he's on strike one. I'm not saying get him out, but he's on strike one because by now December, I would have expected him to fix up. Yeah, like I said in the group chat, it's starting to feel like we're his little experiment. Do you know what I mean? Kate said, it seems like he's a little spy. You know what I mean? Coming here to just mess things up a little bit. That's what it's starting to feel like now because it's unbelievable how you can keep playing guys like Cole at left back, but everyone here can clearly see the guy is not a left back. Play the guy in his natural position. Do you know what I'm saying? All these things will help young players because they're young. End of the day, they're young. This is a situation. So I'm just.
But let me ask you something, Dunn.
I'm disappointed in Poch right now, man. He's been doing madness. I can't lie to you.
Let me ask you something because I get what you're saying, and I do think Poch is to be blamed. I 100% agree with you. That decision of playing Cucurella on right back last game and then putting Cole left back, you give yourself 0 options from your fullbacks to progress the ball. And you guys were wondering why you were struggling in your half. You have no fullbacks that can dribble past that line and just beat a man and get out of that press. So that was on him. But here's the thing. I still look at players like, and this doesn't get talked about enough, and I don't know when we're going to start talking about it. Caicedo is an example. I'm tired of people talking about Enzo. Let's talk about Caicedo a little bit. What has Caicedo been doing in that midfield? Because on and off the ball, I'm sorry. Listen, maybe I don't watch him under the microscope like Chelsea fans do, because obviously most times I'm busy watching my team. But every time I watch him, bro, he's not what he was doing in Brighton at all. And he's not the player. How much did you spend for him again? This guy went for a world record fee. This guy could have been in Liverpool right now going for the league, if we're being honest. Because all they're missing right now is a DM. Right now, he formed that partnership with Enzo, and it's not working. And I think Enzo's struggling because of him. Because he's not helping in that midfield. Every time you guys get out-muscled in that midfield, I'm not really looking at Enzo. I'm looking at the DM. And Enzo really, really reminds me of Pogba. And I said that last week. I said he's getting the Pogba treatment because that midfield and that team is not good enough. So they just keep pointing at the main guy in that midfield, who's Enzo. But I don't think he's being helped, bro. That's one example where, like, okay, you're being played in your position and you're not performing well. And you're not winning midfield battles. The fact that you didn't win a midfield battle against McTominay, bro, that by its own, bro, is embarrassing. Because no one, bro, we don't beat anyone in the midfield. Terry would tell you here, I can't remember the last time we dominated in the midfield. Wallahi, I don't remember.
But Staffy, this is the thing, though. Like, I can criticize Caicedo for how he played on the ball the other day because he was very sloppy, yeah? But end of the day, I can't ignore the fact. I can't ignore how Poch set us up. I'm so sorry. There was too much space in between our midfield and the attack and the defense. We were so deep into our own half, right? We were boxed in. You boxed us in, right? And like I said, at Brighton, if you watch Caicedo at Brighton, the guy had McAllister next to him. The guy had Pascal Gross next to him. Every single time he would get on the ball, there was always an option that he could play the ball off to. At Chelsea, bro, he's got no one next to him, and you're expecting him to run through the midfield as if it's De Jong. He's not that. He's not that type of player. So like I've said right now, he's not being used correctly. Right, these players are not being used correctly, and a lot of that goes down to how
he supposed to be used?
Poch is setting up. Like I've said to you, if you're going to use Enzo and Caicedo, they need to be in a pivot. We didn't play a pivot the other day, bro. We played a 4-3-3. Palmer basically played as an 8. You know how mad that is, bro. Palmer was playing as an 8. You had Palmer picking up the ball from deep, and Enzo as the furthest midfielder. Do you know how crazy that is, bro? I couldn't believe what I was watching. Yeah, and at the end of the day, with Caicedo, he's had good games this season. Yeah, he didn't have the best start. Obviously, he came on against West Ham. Absolute howler of a debut. One of the worst debuts I've seen in the Premier. But I can't ignore the good games that he's had this season. Obviously, he's been underwhelming because of the price that we've paid. But he has had good games. And defensively, he's been solid in there. A lot of the games that we've picked up points this season, if it wasn't for him, you know, being a bit of a nuisance in midfield, it would have been long for us. Do you know what I'm saying? But end of the day, like I've said, a lot of how we're playing right now, a lot of, like Man United the other day, The setup was completely incorrect, and I have to look at the manager for that, bro. I have to.
I get you criticizing the manager. I want to throw this out to LB. Some Chelsea fans are talking about sacking him. Others think that with this young squad, having already gone for a lot of managers, sacking him would be a mistake. They can't stay in 10th and Poch keep his job, surely.
Well,
Or do they have to ride through this no matter what?
Well, no, they definitely don't have to ride through it no matter what. They spent £1 billion. They're going to want a return on that. And that means success. That means winning actual silverware. I mean, it's all good sitting here saying, oh, yeah, Pochettino is great with, developing young players. What's he won in the game, man? What's he won? Didn't win anything at Spurs. Didn't do particularly well at Paris. So let's be real. Yeah? Even if he develops them, what's the long-term strategy? We're just going to develop these players for a few years and then sack him when he inevitably don't win anything and then get a new manager in. Well, what's the point? Might as well just bypass that phase and get an actual manager in that can win. I don't rate the guy. I don't rate the manager, man. I don't rate it, and I don't buy this. He's great at developing young players. Is that a thing? Now? Is that you don't want winning trophies, isn't it? That's what Chelsea want, winning trophies. So I just think that, listen, obviously you can't just sack him straight away, but how long do you give him, man? Obviously Don watches Chelsea more than me. He's telling me that he's making dumb decisions. Well, how long do you want to give him then? Keeps making dumb decisions, sack him. And get a manager that actually knows how to win stuff.
He's going to get himself sacked, Lewis. This is what I'm saying. He's going to get himself sacked. And like I've said, right now, I've literally for me, how I look at it right now is I'm just praying that these lot recover quickly. Because again, like clockwork, I said in a group chat the other day with Gem and that, what's going to come out is injuries. What happened yesterday? Oh, when Cuckoo, Lavia, these lot are going to help. That's not good enough. That is not good enough. That's why I'm just praying that these lot recover quickly so he can't hide behind that excuse anymore. He runs off to that excuse every single time. Who forced you to play Levi at left back? No one did that. People come to me and tell me, oh, it's because of height. We haven't got height in this team. But we're still conceding headers. Look what Matomede did to him for the second goal. He outbeat him in the air, bro. And it keeps happening. You know what I mean? This is not good. Look at Guardiola. Pep Guardiola's playing him there. You're not seeing the best of him, bro, because he's being played out of position. The same thing as Levi Colwill. This guy was amazing last year at the Emirates. Amazing against Liverpool last year. He comes to Chelsea, we've got him looking like a fridge at left back because he's not meant to be playing there. Do you know what I'm saying? So I have to look at these things. And as much as, like I said, these players take responsibility because they haven't been good enough in front of goal and individual mistakes at the back, I have to look at the manager and how he's setting them up. It's poor, bro. It's been bad. It's been bad.
I hear you on that. Rory, this weekend, they go away to Goodison Park, Everton, who just battered Newcastle 3-0. How do you see this going Sunday afternoon for Chelsea?
I think Everton are going to beat them. I think Everton are on a high. I think they've won 3 out of the last 4 games. Chelsea don't travel away well. And I can see Everton is perfect for them. They're sitting deep. We know Chelsea can't deal with that sort of defence. And they're sitting deep. They'll do them on the counter. And a little 1 or 2-0 win to Everton. See everyone happy.
Well, this is the thing for me, yeah. Right, so you talk about should they sack Poch. Next games for Chelsea: Everton, Sheffield United, Wolves, Palace, Luton Town. Let's be honest, if he doesn't come out of there with at least 4 wins, I don't think that's ridiculous. They should sack him. Sack him on New Year's Eve.
But then what happens?
Happy New Year.
Get a manager in that actually knows how to win stuff, Staffy. You can't just have this guy and he's never won anything.
No,
it's basics, man. It's basics, LB, man. I don't understand. I don't understand. This guy's not doing the basics of the game. Like he's really struggling to just get the basics. That's what I'm saying. It feels like a little experiment. Oh, this week I'm gonna do this. That week I'm gonna do that. That's what it feels like to me, bro. And it's really aggravating because I'm like, yo, when I talk about these lineups and that, obviously I'm not a coach, yeah. At the end of the day, we all like to see a balanced lineup when it comes to our teams. I've struggled to see one this season, bro. I've struggled to see one, right? Because he's putting out just lineups that none of us here would be picking week in, week out. Do you know what I mean? So it's just frustrating to watch, man, because I wanted Poch and I thought that he'll be the best guy for the job with the young players. But honestly, right now, bro, I've been disappointed. And like I said, he's on strike 1 for me right now.
Here's the thing. I just want to go back to what Obi said. I understand what you're saying. In football terms, what you said is absolutely fine. Just remove all the context. A manager comes in, doesn't win, doesn't get enough wins, you got to get rid of him. That sounds fine, especially in a big club. But I need to remind you again that their project, what they are doing, is not similar to anything that we've experienced with our clubs. Okay? These guys decided to do some weird project that has never been seen in football before, which is invest in so many young players. And I don't know what was in their heads thinking how many of these players are going to work. You saying if they don't pick up enough results, he needs to get sacked. I agree with you. That's fine. But are they really expected to pick up results like that right now? Did you bring a manager in right now to pick up results right now? Because if you sack another manager, as I said earlier, that is more instability for these players. I shouldn't be 21 years old, and in less than 2 years, I went through 4 managers in my football club. I didn't even, some of these players haven't even learned English yet, and they're going through 4 managers. That's how much unstable this club is. So did I ride it out? Because, sorry, Terry, because when you really look at Arsenal, obviously their project was a little bit different. They didn't spend that much, but they went through a lot of young players. They had to lose so much to finally understand how the manager wants to play, to understand how to play together. And in a few years, they clicked. They still haven't won anything. I'm not giving them that full credit, but they play much better football than they did a couple years ago. Every time you hire a new manager, I think you're taking a few steps back because they got to learn a new manager.
Yeah, but
he has a new style of play. He has a new management style, personality. I'm not saying you necessarily have to stick with him if it gets super bad.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at it. I'm like, if you don't have this many points at this time, you need to go because I don't think they're trying to win right now.
To a degree, there has to. I mean, they could. If this weekend's results don't go their way, they could end up in 13th, and then you just can't spend what they're spent and be there. Now, look, Don, I know you've got to shoot, mate, because you've got somewhere else to be. Thank you very much for coming on, brother, and we'll play you out. We'll play you out with this, bro. Thank you, my dude.
If you lose to Man United, will you say you're in a crisis then?
If we lose to Man United, someone upstairs is getting us a serious backhand, bro. I'm telling you, because there's no way we should be losing to you lot.
So will you be in a crisis then?
If we lose to United, we're in a fucking crisis.
Okay.
Oh, Jersey, boss win you. In blue we stand, united we rise. The Banthas they throw, we are rising again. No matter the cost, give us a win, yo. Give us a win, yo. In blue we stand, united we rise. No more defeats, let's be done these doors. Justice rising up, we will stand tall. Together we fight, we conquer all.
If we lose to United, we're in a fucking crisis.
Okay.
Love it, absolutely love it. Viewers, make sure like buttons are being smashed. Get yourselves ready to play golden goals. We're gonna be doing that later on in the show. So scan the QR code above my head or click on the link in the description below. I need to show you guys a stat as we move on to the next team. I need to show you a stat here. Tottenham are the first side in Premier League history to fail to win in 5 consecutive games despite going 1-0 up in each match, and 2, lose 3 consecutive home games despite going 1-0 up in each match. Crazily, they may only be 1 place above Chelsea that we've just been ripping into if results don't go their way this weekend. Kate, Kate, what has gone wrong in these last 5 games? What's gone wrong?
Do you know what? I'm not going to say it's all based on injuries. I haven't really got the answer. Obviously, Ange is stuck to his philosophy, and I've got massive respect for that. And I can see what he's trying to do. And I think when we play well and we show these moments, you can see what he's trying to do. I mean, in the first half yesterday, we had 95% possession against West Ham, which is phenomenal. But we just haven't got anyone clinical in front of goal that's finishing our chances. We could have been 3-4-0 up in the first half. Same with Villa. But we've got rid of Harry Kane, who is arguably the best striker in the world, if not one of the best strikers in the world, and replaced him with nobody in front of goal. I know we've got Maddison, who's injured, but we've got Son, and that's it. We've got Richarlison, who couldn't score in a brothel, let's be fair, absolutely awful. And I just think we've got to find a way of finishing our dinner, because we can't take advantage. The first half, we come out like a steam train, but going in at 1-0 at half time, I knew yesterday, as soon as we went in at half time 1-0, I knew we'd end up losing 2-1. It was just an absolute banker. It's all very well. I've seen stats today. We had 75% possession overall. We had 23 shots, 7 on target, blah, blah, blah. but those stats don't win you games. So yeah, for me, it's the lack of being clinical in front of goal and finding a way to finish these chances. I mean, Ange said it just wasn't good enough. He said at the end of the day, I want to play well, but more than anything, I want to win. And that's something we're not doing. And I've just seen someone put, you said Richarlison's better than Jesus. I never wanted Richarlison. I've never liked Richarlison. I hated him at Everton. I don't rate him at all. And he's proven to be an absolute waste of money. So all I hope is that a Saudi club or someone comes in January, feels sorry for us, gives us a few quid, and so we can get rid of him because he's just awful.
They've got a big game this weekend, Lewis. They play Newcastle at home. Newcastle have been a little patchy and they had a really bad result the other night against Everton. But how do you see this game going? Because Newcastle need the win, but I feel like Spurs, because they're at home, are under so much more pressure. If they go 6 games without a win, maybe 5 defeat in 6, they could end up in 8th to 9th in the league this weekend after winning the title only 4 weeks ago. How much pressure do you feel they're under?
I think they're under a huge. To be fair, I think both clubs are under a bit of pressure. There he is. I think both clubs are under pressure. I really do. I think obviously look at Newcastle. They got thumped 3-0, and they've got a big game in the Champions League next week that they have to win if they want any chance of qualifying. But I just look at Newcastle, and even though obviously it was a poor result against Everton, they just look more like a team that could probably get a result in this sort of game. I think Tottenham are just so low on confidence right now. They're missing obviously 2 key players in Maddison and Van der Ven, which is huge for them. And so yeah, for me, I probably obviously put my money on Newcastle, I think. But I think it's a close one. It is a close one, but they both need it. They both need it 100%. But I've said I think Tottenham, I think they're in like for a real bad ride now. You know, I think short term, medium term, and long term, I don't know where Spurs are going to be. I just don't see where they're going to be.
I don't agree with that.
It's funny because we spoke earlier, and he was talking about how we need to get a win, and I had to remind him himself that just like us, they're in our boat. They need a win too without a win in a month. So just like you need to go beat Luton, we need to go beat Newcastle. But let's get one thing straight, man. Like, yeah, look, we haven't picked up points in our last 5 games, but we're not in a crisis. Unlike Chelsea, unlike Manchester City, I'm not Man City. Unlike Chelsea, unlike Man United, you look at their team, and you can't really see where the holes are. You can see that there's issues all over the pitch. You can see that they need quite a few things to get going before that team starts to really kick on. With Tottenham, you look at the holes and you say, the front line's just lacking a bit of creativity. It's lacking a clinical player. And like Kate said, we haven't got Harry Kane. We haven't replaced Harry Kane with a proper striker. We haven't got someone in there that's, when they get the one chance, they're just going to put it away. We haven't got that player. Sonny's playing at 50% right now. You could even see yesterday, he just wasn't himself. Without Jay Maddison in there, who still at this moment in time has the most shot-creating actions in the Premier League, hasn't played in 4 games. You can tell that you're missing a real creative player, someone in there that can make something from nothing. So once we plug a few holes in that attack, you see Tottenham going to get a lot better. And anyone that can sit here and try and laugh at the 5 games we lost and say imposter Hojlund, all these things, it's just a load of rubbish. Because you can even look at yesterday and you can clearly see where did it go wrong. Errors leading to goal. We literally gave the game away ourselves. We imploded. That's all it was. So all the problems that we've sort of had over the past 5 weeks and the game's going wrong, it's all internal problems. It isn't things where you look at and you go, these other teams are putting us and batting us off the park. And again, I feel like these are all going to get fixed. And with due time and in due course, you're going to see a much better Tottenham. But at the moment, we just have to go through this time. We're in a rebuild, 15 games in. We all knew that it wasn't going to be perfect. Of course, the start of the season started great, but we all, I don't know, me and I said personally, and I'm sure Kate did as well, that we knew this was going to time. We knew that there was going to be a tough time coming. We didn't think it was going to be this early in the season, but it happens. You got to ride this wave. And once we got through this, which I think that this wave's over personally, I think it's only going to be going up from here. So the next 3-4 games, I see us picking up points, 100%.
What's your thoughts on that, Rory?
I think Mesut Ozil said it best today. Said Bottle Job FC are back, and they are back. I think Ange has, You know, he's got over that spell at the start he had, and he's become at one with Spurs and what Spurs are, and it's in the DNA now. And once it's in the DNA, it's game over. So I think Spurs are in trouble. And Newcastle, the one thing about Newcastle is that every game this season that's a big game, they can get up for, and I think they'll see this as a big game.
You know
I
what's
think they'll
funny,
go
Rory?
there and win. Yeah, what's funny?
It's
You?
just that
Your
since
team?
Arsenal have been top of the table and you've been flying so high, you seem to wear a Bayern Leverkusen shirt so much. Why can't you support your team and rep them so hard? Because you should be confident you're going to win the league. Why are you not showing everyone with that chest?
I'm very
They're
confident.
bottling it. They call us bottlers, and they're the biggest bottlers of all. Bloody hell, 93% of the time they're top of the league, and then right at the last minute, has anyone lost an arsehole? Oh no, Arsenal just bottled it. Don't worry, they do it every year.
No,
Well,
I
you did
just quite
just
like- I
bottle.
just
You
quite
did
like the
just bottle
shirt.
5 games in a row, and that's a record. No one else ever scored the opening goal 5 games in a row and didn't pick up the 3 points. So as much as I don't like to sit here and defend Arsenal or Rory, because I usually like to be on his case. Yes, he is right when you're saying you're bottling, but I can't forget that George just mentioned my team. You just made it very clear that what was it that Spurs have. What was the issues that you have? You said the issues that you have are like easier to see, and
they're easier to see. They're holes that you can easier plug. Yours aren't. You've got a lot of issues.
So let me ask you something. If that's the case, and I said this is why I love to come back and collect receipts. That's one thing that I always do, and I do it on the same platform. That's how I work. You know, I bought something from somewhere. I go to the exact same store and I return it. I don't go to another branch. You know, so we're back here on the top 6 and I'm collecting receipts. I said I will judge Ange fully after you guys get your first loss, because I like to see how a manager, especially a new manager, bounces back after a defeat. You know, when everything is not rosy and so easy and all that stuff, I like to see what the manager could do. Okay, you guys started great. I praised you guys all the way, and I got accused of being an undercover Spurs fan. I'd like Hassan like to say, he said I twerked for Spurs. I didn't twerk for Spurs. I just saw something good and I praised it. Now I see a manager 5 games in, not getting criticism for not picking up points because he plays good football. Because you guys watch fossil football for 3 years and you guys are seeing now good football, you're forgetting that it's a results business. And by the way, my manager that I criticize, or I'm still criticizing, by the way, has more wins than you. And that's the team that has more is in a bigger crisis, by the way. We in no point, by the way.
You also have more losses, by the way.
Okay, yeah, but that's the point, though. The point is we're close to each other, and one of us is being mocked, and the other one is being praised because Ange can do no wrong.
Because we're 15 games into our rebuild. You're a season and a half into your rebuild. I think
but that's not my point. I'm not talking about the rebuild, though. That's fine. That's fine. I get what you're saying, and I do understand that Ten Hag came in a year early. But when I spoke about injuries in the beginning of the season, when I was still 10 again, I wanted to give him an excuse. No one wanted to hear it. But now with injuries, we're supposed to wait because you guys have easier holes to plug. Son now is injured.
Staffy, let me ask you a question. Would you not say for, let's just say, the Wolves game, Aston Villa game, and West Ham game, Ange coached the win? The players, they're the ones that bottled it in the game. The player, like you said, we did bottle it, but the players bottled it. Wolves, we bottled it in the 90th minute. You can only look at the players.
Bro, when we lost to Galatasaray in the Champions League because Onana bottled it, everyone said Ten Hag out. And as much as I don't support Ten Hag in the moment because I still think he's doing a lot wrong, he coached that day a 4-0 and no one wanted to listen to me. When Onana basically gave away that ball. And
you know why? You know why? Because Onana was his number one man. He brought him in. So, of course, they're going to hold him liable. I'm not being funny. You guys said it yourself. Even Terry switched up. You have to call the manager out for what it is. He said he's his number one man, and his number one man's causing him all the problems. He's got to hold his hands up.
Don't you think that's hypocritical right now? Because you are saying right now he's coached these games where you guys should have won by a certain margin or whatever, and you guys played good enough to win. As much as I understand that Ten Hag signed some of these players, and by the way, the only reason I'm not debunking that is because I actually said that. So I'm not going to sit here and be a hypocrite. But at the end of the day, when Ten Hag signed Onana, he didn't tell him, oh, by the way, you're my guy, but every here and there, I want you to cost me a game. It's not his fault. The players still on the pitch are held accountable for what they did. And the manager is held accountable for what he did. Now, I understand there's a few games where you guys got coached good enough to win a game, but some games you didn't. And here's my thing, bro. I just can't understand why you guys are okay with playing good football or not picking up results when back then, when you had a Conte and you had what's his name, Jose Mourinho, when he used to go to lower sides and park the bus, and you guys would still win, fans would be upset. But now you have a manager who plays expensive football, goes away and doesn't win, but you guys think it's okay because you're playing good football. I think it's so hypocritical.
We've
Hypocritical
been
by
better
this
away,
fan base.
away from home than at home. Actually, we're going away and getting wins. We just
No,
can't.
I don't care if it's home or away. I just think I'm talking about the idea of you playing better football and not picking up wins. But when you're playing shit football and picking up wins, you guys used to get pissed. They used to say, why is he parking the bus against a lower team today? Why is he playing 5 in the back against a lower team today? But when Ange goes and he plays expensive against another team and he doesn't win, oh, it's fine. We're playing attacking football. It looks nice on the eye.
Staffy, I don't agree with that. First of all, I think for me personally, at the start of the season when Ange come in, I said what I want from this season is a European place, wherever that is. So first, like not first, I've never even thought of first, but you know what I mean, seventh upwards, and to see us play good football, because we have had to sit through 3 years of utter dross, right? So the good football, yeah, there is a real sense of, oh, thank God we're watching a really entertaining game. But that doesn't mean we're happy with losing. But the mentality of Tottenham, there's a loser's mentality amongst the players. Whether you want to call it a bottling mentality or a losing mentality, players should be able to take a 1-0 lead and close a game down, whether you're playing the high line or not. You know, you should want to win and close that game down. And we lose concentration. The players simply aren't good enough. I mean, Ange has to take a little bit of criticism. He took Lo Celso off yesterday, who was one of the only creative players we had on the pitch, and brought on Skippy, who wouldn't probably make it in the Championship. He's absolutely useless. So there is a little bit of blame to the manager. But I was listening to a few different channels today, and I was listening to TalkSport, and Ange is starting to get a lot of criticism. So I don't think the media are still sort of bigging him up. But I think yesterday, and most of the losses we've had over the last 5 games, not including the City game, is a mentality thing amongst the players. They haven't got this strong mindset. They're not winners. They haven't won anything, you know. And until we actually do something, I don't know how that's going to change. You know,
I do agree.
We need to invest in some better players so that when the likes of Maddison get injured, there's someone equally as good to come in, because our drop-off, it's like if Vicario gets injured, we've got Forster, who's just signed another contract.
and he's been great. I wanted to throw this to Lewis. George said that Spurs are not in a crisis after failing to winning 5. How strongly do you disagree with that based on what you said earlier?
You know what's a bit of a weird one with Spurs, because they have, I was saying this with all sincerity, because they have almost like no ambition. They're not in a crisis. They're not in a. That is true though. That is true. I mean, Kate just said she wanted them to finish between 2nd and 7th. Like, there's no real target. There's no real expectation.
First season, we're under a new manager. So it's a project.
I'm not going to go. I'm just saying the reason you're not in a crisis is because no one really expects Tottenham to do anything. So you're currently 5th. You've not won a game in 5 matches. You know, it is what it is. I was sat here at the beginning of the show and said, City are in a mini crisis. We're about to head into a crisis because I have an expectation of my team to go and win. But because Spurs don't have that expectation of actually winning anything or doing anything serious,
I see you're doing it, and I'm not gonna let this.
I don't think I'm doing anything.
No, I'm sorry, it's right,
there is definitely there is definitely an expectation to win a trophy this season. Maybe not. There's not that expectation, and we're not going to put the pressure on Ange to do that in his first season. But of course, there's always the expectation that when our team goes out there, we expect us to win. We expect us to beat Wolves.
Are you in a crisis, then, bro?
Aston Villa.
Are you in a crisis?
West Ham. Of course, we're not in a crisis right now because we're in the first season, 15 games in to a rebuild.
Exactly. And you've got no expectations for this season.
Wait, when Arteta done this and he went 14 games without a win, was they in a crisis? Was Arsenal in a crisis?
Yes, there was a meltdown on the internet. Did you forget these days?
They kept going with him. So it wasn't in a crisis and into a fact that
they were printing Arteta out jerseys. Don't tell me they weren't in a crisis. We all remember what happened.
Let's be real. Arsenal fans, Man United fans, you're fickle. Every 2-3 weeks you say Arteta out, Ten Hag out. You change your mind like the weather.
No, but George, you don't have to be. No, you don't have to be Ange out to say that there's a bit of a crisis. Like, I was never Arteta out, but when we won 1 game in 10, that was a crisis. Like, you can say you're in a crisis and something has to change or it's going to get bad. I don't think Spurs are necessarily in a crisis. Like LB said, I don't think you have expectations. But again, when you say you can't have expectations because it's his first season, Ten Hag won a trophy in his first season. Arteta won a trophy in his first season.
We have got expectations.
You have to demand something from him. Otherwise, what's the point?
Europe.
The least you should be demanding is a bounce back after defeat. I don't understand how I'm sitting on a platform trying to explain to someone that losing 5 in a row and you're a top 6 team is not acceptable.
Did any of us say we don't expect us to win? I sat here and said that I expect us to go and pick up.
Yeah, bro,
points.
but you said you're not in a crisis. You have all these injuries and you're not winning. That is a crisis, bro.
What's interesting about it is if Spurs lose tomorrow and a couple of teams below them win, and one of them would be Newcastle, you'll be back in 8th, which is exactly where you finished last year. I'm not saying you'll finish 8th at the end of the season, but if you guys finish 8th or you finish 9th or it doesn't improve from this point, if year one you go backwards, that isn't irrespective of being year one, that is not a good look, is it?
We're not even halfway through the season, Terry, and this is where me personally, look, we look at the table, but the table's a lie at this time of year. You can look at the table and say, yeah, you got to stay in and around, but we all know that people go and run runs of game. We literally went on our worst run of form with we literally, I haven't sat here and mentioned the injuries once because to me, everyone has injuries. It is what it is. But let's be honest here. You look at the team and our worst run of form coincidentally comes when we have injuries to all of our biggest players. Of course, it's not something hard to look at that. When the players come back, the form's going to pick back up. When Maddison and Van der Ven back, the team's going to look a bit better. This isn't something hard to see. So when people tell me, are we in a crisis? No, we just need our players back. We need better players in this team to be able to
all of the clubs,
it's so hypocritical.
All of the clubs.
Frankly, we haven't got to wait long for this, so it's not going to be.
All I'd say is all of the clubs up there at the top of the table, if they went on a 5-match winless run, yeah.
Are you not on that? Wait.
Yes, bro. And this is the thing that you don't get. I'm saying we're almost in a crisis.
You said you're on a mini crisis. How is it mini crisis if you're winless? If you're winless in 5, how is that a mini crisis? If you just said your teams should be in a crisis. 4, all right, you're winless in 4. It's just as bad though, Stuffy. They've gone from treble winning.
Yeah, but I'm saying we are in a crisis.
Let alone
because
they're winless in 4. You're winless in 4
winless
in a month. You're winless in 4 in this month, and you're also winless against any top team in this league apart from Manchester United.
I'm not saying I'm in a crisis.
More than just a mini crisis. You're in a massive crisis.
Yes,
because without Roger, you haven't had a win.
Because I'm happy to say it, George, because my team has expectations to win.
You said
your
mini
club
crisis. You said mini crisis. You're in a massive crisis.
Okay, I'll put him in a crisis. Yeah, because my club has
expectations. He partially owned up to it, at least.
Your club has no expectations. So you can sit there with a smile on your face and go, we're not in a crisis. You're not in a crisis because no one cares about anything that Spurs do because you don't win anything. At least Kate gets it. You don't get it.
Because they haven't got no
rivals. Right, I expect to see progression. So 7th and above to me at the end of the season is a progression, right? Next year, if we're sitting here and this is happening, something's wrong massively. But I think you've got to give him a little bit of time. He's got another transfer window coming up. The crisis at the club is that we've got an owner that doesn't spend money and is a complete shithead. That's the crisis at Tottenham. And I don't think it matters if you brought Pep Guardiola in tomorrow. You can't make shit look good. You know, you can only polish a turd so much. And when you've got Dyer, Davis, Højbjerg, Skip, all in the team, it don't matter who manages you. You're never going to do anything. And it's a fact.
I understand that. I want to go to some of these super chats here that have come in. First one says, to dare is to poo, is what Biz has got to say here. Will Stewart, I hope you're well, mate. I did get your DM, by the way. We'll get you added to one of the group chats because this isn't rocket science. The performances are there. The quality isn't. We are in a crisis, a quality winger crisis. Unfortunately, we can't fix that until January. It isn't something Ange can fix right now. Thank you, Will. He means we aren't in a manager crisis. But this is just it. I think, I agree with what you're saying, Will. I think we live in this world now where if you admit your team's in a crisis, it's like you saying Ange out. I don't think it's that at all. You know, it's I just think when you take the lead 5 games running and don't win, I think to not call that a crisis is crazy. That's something that, irrespective of your squad, I think you've been good enough to win a couple of those games, and you should, especially West Ham at home, because you're much better than them.
Let me just say something real quick on that. I'm not saying you're in a manager crisis because I rate Ange. I'm not gonna flop so quick on Ange like that. That's not my issue. My issue is that you can't deal with the situation that it is right now. We have all went through situations where it's not easy, but we still had to deal with it. When Arsenal bottled the league because they lost some of their players and Arteta couldn't cope with it, we all went for his head. It's just that simple. Now Pep is not picking up results with a few injuries and selling some of his players. He's getting slandered for it. When Ten Hag had injuries in the beginning of the season, and we all said he still can't force a style of play, even with the bench, everyone went for his head. I don't understand why me saying Ange can't cope with what he has right now, which is not picking up results with some of his players injured. It's too much to say.
You just made an excuse for Pep Guardiola when Man City have the most expensive squad in
I
the
didn't make
league.
an excuse. I said we still went for his head. We are talking about Pep. We are talking about him. So I don't understand why no one can sit here and be like, you know what? Ange has showed me so far that without his main players, he can't get results. And you can't even say, I understand your guys misses chances. You've had the lead in 5 games. If you could defend for 5 games, you win those games. So I don't understand why it's so hard to understand.
It's hard to defend, Staffy, when you have 4 fullbacks in your back line. I'm just saying.
We were playing Lindelof and left back, and no one gave me an excuse, bro.
You're answering your own questions. I'm just saying.
I played Lindelof and left back, and no one said anything for me. And I sat here and owned up because people were saying I'm calling out Ange. I didn't call out Ten Hag.
You don't. Emerson's not a good right back. You think he's going to be a good centre back? Oh,
bro, I'm playing Maguire, who the whole country booed in international games, and now he's player of the month.
Still better than Eric Dyer.
You want to talk to me about the trenches? I was playing Emmerich and left back, bro.
I'm going to do super chats here. Staffy, you definitely twerked. Staff the Stallion. Is what Mohamedou says here. That actually rings funny. Spurs bottled a 2-horse race with Leicester and came third.
Because we were never first ever during that league. So that's a load of shit for a start.
5 points clear and you bottled the league before Christmas, is what Martin says here. What happened to Spurs winning the league?
Ask Harry and Dan, because it weren't me that said that.
Manny here says, a question for the panel. Who said it worst? Spurs have that aura from George, or Spurs are the biggest club in London from Harry?
Harry.
Now I'm picking George because he's here, so I could say it to his face.
That's Harry's one was it. Harry's theory is, anyone that knows, Spurs are the biggest club in London because everybody talks about them.
I think, but the thing is, Harry had a few drinks, so you could give him an excuse. I think George was sober.
He was.
So George, you gotta hold that.
Ellie here. Hope you're well, Ellie. Thank you so much for such a brilliant donation. I really appreciate it. Hi, Kate. First of all, Angie's no imposter. He's playing football on the front foot, but we are not finishing. And 2 bad defensive errors cost us. Ange takes the blame, but Levy is the real culprit for not strengthening our squad. I think a lot of Spurs fans agree with that. Thank you very much, Ellie. This is the problem with Spurs, is they never want to be judged by the standards of big clubs. So you're nodding your head to that, Rory.
Yeah, when we talk about crises, I think it's an identity crisis at Spurs. I think some of them think that they are one of the big clubs that can compete with the big boys, but then when you have the expectations and you demand the expectations of the big clubs, it's all, oh no, you know, we're playing good football and injuries, and so I think they don't know what they want to be.
It's coming from an Arsenal fan who couldn't demand their team to win a Premier League last year with 8 points clear. Plenty of you couldn't. You're saying, oh, we never expected it at the start of the season, so we can't demand it now. So it's just funny that people just aren't being realistic all of a sudden.
I think people were demanding it when we were 8 points clear, but we didn't expect it at the start of the season either. But I just think there's an element in the fan base, like the previous, that 20 quid super chat that was talking about, oh, we're on the front foot and defensive error. That's like Brighton talk, you know. They play great football, and you know, if they had, you know, a couple of better players, they'd be up there. I think, you know, do you want to be a big club? And if so, you've got to be judged like a big club.
This here says that Tony Adams and plus Patrick Vieira equal Declan Rice. We'll come back to that stuff a little bit later, the Arsenal stuff. Man City is only in a mini crisis because they have money in the bank. I would say City are only in a mini crisis because 99.9% of us think they're going to turn this round. I think that's the difference. I think that's why you could call it that. Blaze here says, Terry, was Don not saying the same thing after the Villa and Forest games, controlled the game but lost to errors, but we're now meant to praise Spurs instead? And this is what I swear I agree with what Rory said. It's about the different standards and expectations clubs have. A lot of Chelsea fans are like, I don't care that the football looked nice, we lost the game, where it is different for Spurs. Shane says, where is Professor Pie Chart Will? I thought Spurs' style of play was more sustainable than Arsenal's. We'll be getting Will back on soon to answer these questions. He hasn't gone hiding or anything like that. I haven't reached out to him, to be fair, so that's kind of on me. So the problem for Spurs is simple. Just replace their greatest ever player, who is a generational talent. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, is what Charles says here.
He wasn't
This is
saying
about-
that when he was scoring goals left and right. Stop it.
This is about Chelsea. Says, haha, Chelsea spent $1 billion to develop youth talent. They hired a developer, not a winner. That looks true right now. That looks very true right now. Will's back again. He says, Rory, you mean like it's been raining? Standard of big clubs. Big up Ty, by the way.
I think he's talking
But
about.
you know,
I think he's talking about when Ty blamed the rain. for us
Oh,
and
right.
blamed weather.
Okay. I get you.
Yeah, you'll never
No,
catch
so
me
wait.
blaming the weather.
Can
for
we
that.
talk on this then? You talk about standards of big club, Rory. So your team at this moment in time, 6 points clear. Do you demand that your team go and win this league? Do you demand that you go out there and show that you take this lead forward? Because you're a big club, right? And if you don't do that, what happens to your manager? Because that's 2 years running that he's bottled a 6 or 7, 8 point clear league. Like, what does happen at that point? Because you're a big club. Talk to me.
I think it depends on the context. There will be a lot of Arsenal fans that if we don't win anything this season, will want Arteta gone. And I don't think you could find after last season, I don't think you could find a single Arsenal fan that isn't demanding a trophy this year. So that's the difference.
I'm asking for your personal opinion, not Arsenal fans in general.
My personal opinion coming into this season was that we should be in a title race and win a trophy.
Not coming into the season, though. Off of right now, we're talking about right now because you're 6 points clear in this title race.
We're not six.
So,
we're 2 points clear. We're 6 points clear of
I'm
City,
talking
but
about
we're 2
City.
points clear of Liverpool.
I'm not worried about Liverpool. I think that you're
No, bro, you can't do that, bro. You can't say that.
No,
That's
let's be real. Because I'm talking about my expectations and his expectations. You talk about the people that challenged
You know what's
last
mad with
season.
you, George? You have more
No, you talk
expectations
about
for
people
other
that challenged
football
last
clubs than you do
season.
your own club, man.
You're talking about people that
You
challenged
actually
last
do,
season.
bro.
You talk about challenging last season. I'm talking
It's
about I want to see you
wild.
demand it. And you're not trying to demand it from your teams. You're talking about standards of big clubs, but you don't keep it for your own.
No, I
team.
do. I expect us to go and win the league. We should do. There you go.
There we go. On that though, on Arsenal trying to win it, this is from Opta when it comes to the title race and the probability of winning it from the league as it stands right now. City are still favourites by 53%. Arsenal second favourites 22%. Liverpool on 20%. Villa on there at 1.2%, and Spurs because they're in the top 5 on 0.3% chance probability from this point. And I think they factor in where you are in the league, the quality of your squad, previous records, previous history, etc. For that. So in terms of Arsenal fans demanding that they win the league, according to the experts, the mathematicians, the probability based on all the key indicators, even though City are 6 points off top, they are still looked at as the favourites by a country mile to win the league. So I think it's all well and good, Arsenal fans saying I demand it. It's all about your reaction if you don't. And I think that's where it needs to be contextualized, in terms of, it's like with you guys, you're fine with what Big Andrew's doing. But if you keep losing, you end up coming 13th. I guarantee you're not going to be happy if the football looks good. So I think you have to contextualize these things. We'll come back to some more super chats in a bit. I wanted to ask about Arsenal because it's a massive, massive game tomorrow. In my opinion, it's your biggest game of the season tomorrow against Aston Villa because of how good they've been. It's the best home form versus the best away form. A chance for you to extend your lead over City at the top. You may need to play catch up to Liverpool if they beat Crystal Palace prior to that. How are you feeling about the game, Rory? And do you believe you were the last team to beat them there. Do you believe you can get the job done?
Yeah, it's. I'm nervous. I actually think of all the games other than City at home, this is the sort of first game really where I felt like it's going to be a genuinely tough game. Obviously, we were the last team to beat the last Premier League team to go and win away at Villa. They've won 14 in a row since. They've not even drawn any of those. So they're unbelievably good at home. I do think we're better equipped than like the actual City 11 that started on Wednesday. I think we're better equipped to deal with that Villa high line than that, just because of the pace we've got in behind. And Jesus bringing out a defender, leaving that space behind. So I do think we can go and win. Obviously, we don't have Arteta on the touchline. I don't know if that's going to make a difference. Hopefully, it doesn't. And like you said, it's a massive game for us. If we win that, then I think that's a big statement. After the way that they played against City, I think it's a big statement to go and win. So, yeah, fingers crossed we do.
You win that game, bro. You win that game. I think you win that game. Honestly, I don't see. Yeah, bro. To be honest with you, I actually have almost no doubts in my mind that Arsenal win that game. I think Rory's right. I think they're better equipped to deal with it. What they call it, Aston Villa put in a huge effort against City, and that could maybe. And I suppose Arsenal did against Luton, but I just feel I just feel that Arsenal will get this win. I hope I'm wrong, obviously, but I just think they are. I don't know if you've seen that record going around on Twitter again. Yeah, the last 9 matches Manchester City have lost. Right, you have to go back to 2021 to get the 9. Only one team has then gone and won the next game, and that was Spurs when they beat us.
Wow,
and that includes
Put a
teams
lot
like
of
Real
effort in.
Madrid. Like, yeah, they put a lot of effort in.
We had an extra day rest as well because we played on Tuesday, which is useful.
Yeah, I think you win that game.
What are you saying, Staffy? Do you think Arsenal are going to do it, or can you see an up? I don't know if you call it an upset because they're home form, but Arsenal are the bigger team. Arsenal, I would say, are the marginal favourites based on the size of the club and the squad. But how do you see the game going, mate?
I don't know what's going to happen. I tell you what should happen. Arsenal should win this game. And I'll tell you why. Villa have been amazing at home. I think they're the only team to pick up all their points at home, something like that.
And
So
Liverpool,
they've been-
them and Liverpool.
And Liverpool, okay.
100%, yeah.
So, I mean, you would expect that from Liverpool, but no one really would have expected that from Villa. So I'm going to give them more credit. But here's the thing. The reason I'm saying they should is because if you want to win this league this season and you just bought $100 million pound, I should say, sorry, that's the American in me that said the dollar, man, to see you through some of these games that you didn't win last season, this is one of these games. Now, I'm not saying you're expected to win based on just performances because Villa's been amazing and you guys have been good, but you've had some, results where you had to kind of scrape it regardless of how many chances you created or not. But I'm saying you should because I think a win against Villa, and I'll be maybe the first one to say it, if you guys win against Villa at home, even though it's very early in the season, you guys are going to be very serious title contenders. You already are title contenders, in my opinion, right now, and in a lot of people's opinions. But I think that game solidifies it, just mainly because of the form that Villa's in. We've seen Villa beat City last week. That's technically your rival for the title of the season. Obviously, Liverpool's still there. But to get a result that City couldn't get a week earlier sends a huge statement. To go and be the only team that gets points of a team that's undefeated at home sends a huge statement. And if you want to be a serious title contender, these are the games that you're supposed to win. I think if we all go back and look at our teams when they won titles, there was games that we won, and you're like, wow, what a result today. What a big result. Kate, I'm sorry, you wouldn't know what that is.
I can't remember that far back. I wasn't born.
Know what I'm talking about, but me, Terry, LB, we definitely know these games. It was games that you won and you're like, wow, this is why we deserve to be champions. This is why we are going to be champions. And you're going to go back and look at it and you're like, this is the game where we kind of knew this is the year. We believed because of this result. And I think this is one of them. I don't want to hype up Villa too much because the way I'm talking about it is like you're going to beat Prime City in it. That's not what I'm trying to do. But as it is right now, with the context of everything going on around in the league, City kind of slumping, Liverpool being there, but you guys are ahead of them on your top of the table. If you get a result right now, we'll look at this and we'll be like, you know what? Wow, what a result. What a team. And based on that only, that's why I'm saying that. But my expectations is that I think it's going to be a very good, a very hard game. It's going to be very good for the neutrals to watch. You're probably going to be nervous watching the game, but we're going to be laid back and we're going to be reclined. We're going to go for Villa. I'm going to go borrow a Villa jersey or something or a flag because I don't want you guys to win. And it's going to be very easy for us to watch this game and hope that you guys slip up. And the likelihood of you guys slipping up is very likely because, as I said, they're undefeated at home. And we got to give respect to Villa and Unai Emery, what he's doing. But as I said, if you get a result, it's going to be very massive for you guys.
I personally think I do think like Staffy's painting a nice story, but I do think like if you're looking at any manager to go there and probably beat this Arsenal team, no, I'm just being honest. Like it is Unai Emery. Like Unai Emery is a very good coach. He knows how to coach a very good game against the top clubs. And this is one of the games where you probably look at where, like you said, the pressure's on Arsenal. I don't feel like Arsenal handle the pressure very well, and especially when they come into these big games. This season, they've done pretty good, and defensively, they've been solid. But I think this is going to be one of the games that they're really challenged. I do think that the Villa, like you said, that they've gotten Arsenal have had an extra day's rest, but Villa have been used to this schedule, sort of playing with the Thursday, Sunday football this season, and they've still been performing, still keeping up to their level. So I do feel like people are maybe writing off Villa a bit, like thinking that Arsenal might just go and get the result as easy as they have in some of their other games. But No, I do think Emery's probably going to set the team up really well, set them up to beat this Arsenal team. But I'm not going to sit and write off Arsenal at the same time. I don't really see Villa putting too much goals past Arsenal, so it could be one of those games where it's sort of walk away one apiece. But
I mean, in terms of handling the pressure and handling Emery, we are the only team that have been to Villa Park in 2023 and beaten them, and that was in the height of a title race. We had like Jorginho and Ketia playing, and we got the win. So I'm not really worried about that. I'm more worried about just the wave that Villa are riding at the moment. They're on such a run of form, and when you catch a team on that run, but we're on a decent run as well. I think we've won 6 in a row. So I think it's one of those where it's a big clash of two teams in form, and one of them's gonna take the loss, and hopefully it's not us.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. As I say, I think from my point of view, this season is gearing up to have it. I think 3 teams as a minimum are going to be in this title race. A lot of people are overlooking Liverpool and not even really discussing them, which I think's interesting. I don't think they'll win it, depending on what they do in January. That could change my mind. I still have City as my favourites, but an away win for Arsenal in this game changes that situation. I think a lot more people will start to believe in them being able to win it, because it's a game a lot predicted not to. Equally, Villa go and win the game, and people are going to start talking about a Leicester season. People are going to start talking about, can they do it? Because suddenly we're almost halfway through the campaign. Their home form is imperious. They are. I think what you said is right, George. I'm so glad they're handling this Thursday, Sunday. I think it's the biggest fallacy ever created by football managers. How is Thursday, Sunday different to Wednesday, Saturday?
You are looking at a master, though, Terry, of the Thursday, Sunday football. Let's be honest.
He's a master of it, because he doesn't plant the seed in pre-season to his players that playing Thursday, Sunday is going to kill you physically. You start telling yourself it's going to exhaust you and kill you, it damages your players. And I think that he handles it because he realizes it's just 2 games a week, like all top clubs play. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and you play on the Sunday and then the Thursday, you get a longer rest than some of the teams that play Sunday and then play Wednesday in the Champions League. But no one moans about it that way round. It's one of my biggest bugbears in football that people moan about it. So yeah, I'm just really excited about the game, because I think whoever wins, I think it sends a huge cat amongst the pigeons. I think it gets rivals from all different fan bases for different reasons talking. And I'm just excited about the fallout and the aftermath of it. I want to go to some of these super chats here. Okay. This is for getting your daughter from school on time, Terry, and being a really good dad. Thanks. I appreciate that. I mean it with respect. I don't need a super chat for that, but thank you. It's like literally my main job is making sure my kids are picked up from school and fed and everything else. But I really, really do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. They're great, my kids. They're annoying, but they're great.
Must take after their dad then.
Yeah, no, they do. They do. That's why I think they annoy me. I see my own traits in them, if that makes sense. But it's just kids. I'm one of those parents where I love my kids more than anything. But you sort of get some of those dads that are like, oh my God, from like the second that Jacob was born, like my life changed. He's he's the apple of my eye. The world looks like a different place when he came into it. Shut up. Kids are hard work and they're annoying. Let's have it right. One thing for sure, Villa and Arsenal play open football based on last season. Plus, defensively, Arsenal have improved. IMHO, what does that mean?
In my
humble opinion.
There we go. There we go. The kids know. How do you discount Liverpool still win every cup? Mad. I don't think it's about discounting Liverpool. I think everybody still says City's going to win the league. So by that definition, everybody's being discounted because everybody thinks City are winning the league right now. So it is what it is. Manny here says, if Villa managed to do a Leicester this season, old man Lee Gunner's rat army is going to have a field day with Arteta and the top gooners. Yeah, it would be true. Imagine City don't win it and then Villa do. For a lot of clubs, that will be painful if it happens twice in a decade. Terry, do not have Staffy on your channel because on his channel, he had a guest disrespecting Isak. Why would I not have Staffy on for that? That's a madness, bruv.
I don't even know what the comment was Because if no one mentioned it, then I don't know what you're talking about. But you want me to control what people say on the show? Like, they're grown-ass people. What do you want me to do? I can't control what anyone
and
says.
disrespect. I mean, what we're talking about here, saying I don't think he's that good. That's a madness. No, we're not.
It must have been
banning
after we lost in Newcastle, but what upset you to the point that you want me banned? I didn't say nothing.
I fear Liverpool, as they've already played many away games. This is true. And they've got a very easy game on the 17th of December against Man United as well. Keep saying that Arsenal bottled an 8-point lead last season. Man City had 2 games in hand. That was 6 points. So it was technically a 3-point lead against the best club in the world, is what Banter on the pitch says.
That's no such thing. Games in hand is not better than games played. Points on the board is what you count. So let's stop that.
AFC Singh says, said it before, Chelsea bought so many young and inexperienced kids. No matter how talented, if they don't start winning, they will go in the opposite direction and start digressing. I mean regressing, but yeah. And it could be peak for Chelsea if not fixed soon. Listen, Mr. Singh, you could be absolutely spot on that. This is his big up Staffy, very knowledgeable at a young age, though not when it comes to his choice of team you support. Some JJ.
I'm glad to know that you think that I'm a young fan. You know, I'm not really that young, but
you're pretty young. You're pretty young. You're young compared to me. I remember when Tottenham fans were saying Kulu was better than Saka last season. Oh my God.
Outside, yeah.
Kulu's still been good though. Kulu's still been good this season.
Better than Saka? Better than Saka?
I don't think he's been better than Saka. I don't think he's been better than Saka, but Kulu's been a good
Fair dues. This is from Mike. Mike says, most fans have never played football. They don't know much how much talking happens on the pitch. Who are these young men through the quarters? Who's talking these young men through it? Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
Over here in this country, I think he's getting us confused with the NBA. We have halves.
No, I get what he means. I get what he means though, with a lack of leaders. Nico Jackson needs milk for motivation to score. Listen, I did thank Astrid Wet for whatever she did. It didn't work against Man United, so thank you, Astrid. Thank you. Do it to more players my club's up against. Messi Solanke tonight, whatever. Thank you.
Dave, yeah, it's crazy. What's wrong with this guy?
I couldn't believe it. But listen, a lot of people attacked her for it. I'm just like, got no issue. Do your thing, innit? Do you know what I mean? It's on the player not to be thirsty, innit? Do you know what I'm saying? It's up to him.
I was talking about the picture. That's what I was talking about. The guys at AVI.
I thought you were talking about what was going on with Nicholas Jackson and that.
I mean, that's also crazy. Yeah.
Love from Oz Terry. Screw Ange. Come on, you gooners, is what J Pat has got to say.
Come on, mate. You can't do that.
Berbatov's prediction of Chelsea winning the league isn't age. Did he predict that? Did he? Oh, Paul Berbergod. I don't know which is more delusional between his prediction or Young Daniels. Oh my God. This here says the Chelsea players are trash. Emil Smith Rowe played right wing, left wing, and attacking midfield. Saka played left back and right wing and attacking midfield. The players need to adapt. Foden played other positions he's asked to. It's a fair point. This is Kate. Are Spurs the original cheats for getting caught for financially doping and having a 12 to 6 point deduction in the 90s?
No, the actual original cheats were Arsenal. There was a bunging scandal involving George Graham in 86 to 95. But
can you just put that super chat back up on the screen? All right. What was that all about, bro? Come on. Hey, what is this? Is this real? Spurs cheating? Nah, I need to Google this.
Yeah, Google it. Look, Google it. Let's find out if that's true. I don't know. I was too young to remember that. Oh, you are the original cheats of the Premier League.
Oh my God.
We're doing it in 86 to 95. George Graham.
Hang on. Tottenham.
Oh my days. This is horrendous.
Oh, hang on. Tottenham points deduction. Tottenham points deduction. Investigation finds. Oh no, that's an old one. Also, you hang on. Oh, hang on. Yeah. The fine was, here we go, in the 94 season. Tottenham began the season as punishment for financial irregulations committed under the club's previous owners during the 80s. They were fined £600,000 and docked 12 league points, as well as being banned from the 94-95 FA Cup. Manager Odiardilis reacts defiantly by adopting an impressive new attacking formation. While Chairman Alan Sugar challenged his club's sanction in court, the fine was later increased to 1.5 million, but the points deduction and FA ban were eventually revoked. So they got that overturned on appeal. But yes, Spurs are the original Premier League cheaters.
Yeah, but
It's
you know
just
what
as
the
well-
difference between Spurs fans is we hold our hands up and say, yeah, and we were punished. Man City fans go, but we haven't done anything.
No,
It's-
but yeah, you
Nah.
are cheaters. You
It's
actually-
just as well. It's just as well you don't win any titles to be stripped, isn't it? Otherwise,
True that.
Just you winning the title last year. I bought it. Yeah, sorry, I just remembered.
Don't go anywhere.
Damn, I didn't know that. Wow. Look at that. Thank you very much for that super chat and Google for helping us with that one. Terry, you need to ban Staffy for having a guest on his show for disrespecting Havertz.
Hey, Staffy's got some haters, man. They just want you banned.
Yeah, this is one of the best super chats I've ever read. Yo, listen, if you're gonna spend money, you better be creative like Nemo right there, because that's probably super chat.
Michael Ramsey says, Staffy, you know what racial comment your guest said towards Isak. Okay, then, Terry, I'm gone. Thanks. Well, first, let me just slow this down. So, first of all, you didn't say that it was racial. Secondly, for me to do anything, I'd have to see it. You can, I'm leaving, I'm not watching anymore. I didn't even know what you were talking about. Equally, I trust Staffy. I don't think Staffy's going to sit there and let somebody racially abuse Isak and then sit there and join in and laugh with it. Personally, that's just my take on Staffy.
I have so many mixed race people that come on my channel. To think that anyone on my channel is a racist is actually crazy.
Staffy, don't justify it. Like you say, you can't control what other people say. There's a lot of cretinous people.
Listen, I would never allow anyone to be racist on my channel. But if he thinks anyone, because I have so many mixed race people.
Also, I don't know whether it's someone in. It could be someone in the comment. You didn't see the comment. Like the amount of comments I don't see in the last 5 minutes, we've had nearly 3,500 comments come through. I read 2 of them because I have it on the starred comments. So yeah, come on now, Michael. Like, be fair. Like, let's do this privately as well. DM me and I'll have a chat with Staffy. I want to know what it is. I'm banning Staffy, but I don't even understand this, Michael. It's getting a bit weird, bro. Same old Spurs, always cheating. Yo, Terry, both Man United and Liverpool were charged and punished for match fixing in 1915. Wow!
Come on, man.
Yeah,
What's
there we
happening
go.
here?
Oh no. Charged. Did we get found guilty? Let's look at this. Let's Google this. 1915, Man United. Match fixing.
See, we're
Let's
just
have a
having
little
our
look.
goal, man. Everyone else has had their goal. You know what I mean? We're just having our
In 1915, British footballing betting scandal occurred when a Football League First Division match between Man United and Liverpool at Old Trafford was fixed in United's favour with players on both sides betting. So basically, both teams did it. Well, I'm just glad it went in the Fergie era. But yeah, terrible. We're the original cheats. Not the original Premier League cheats. But there we go. Look at that. By the way, that still means City should get in trouble. There we go. Take away the Carling Cup and Audi Cup. Disrespectful. I like that.
Yeah, and the Tiger Cup. You can have that and all. We don't want it.
My favorite, and I can't believe you've got it on your website. Big Steve showed it to me. You guys have the Costa del Sol Cup listed on your honors on your website, bruv.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
They do. No, they do, bruv.
The what? What cup?
No.
The Costa del Sol. Look, I'm gonna go Spurs honors, right?
No,
I'm gonna get this on the screen, right? I got Spurs' honors, right? Legit. Right, let me get this up. Let me get this up onto screen to show you. Right, here we go. Here it is on the screen. So this is their website. You scroll down, and here it is. Major honors there. Under other honors.
Other honors.
Yes,
It's all in black and white.
the Costa del Sol tournament winners.
All of these. Wait,
Hang
no,
on.
Terry,
This is my favorite. This is my favorite here. The Vodafone Challenge, which is really good. The South District Charity Cup winners, which is a decent one as well. This is I want to know where this one went. The Anglo-Italian League Cup winners. They've got it all. They've got it all. They've won it all. They've seen it all. I love Spurs. They're great. This here says Arsenal's bootlegged the league. How about Spurs?
Bottled. Yeah, Arsenal
Oh,
bottled. the league
bottled.
winners.
Sorry, I thought I read bootleg. Sorry, my dyslexia kicked in. My superpower is beating Man United's superpower is beating all the bottom teams at home and away, scrape some points against the rest, and you're in the Champions League. Maybe. I wouldn't be happy though. Said it before the Villa game. I'll say it again. You lose Rodri for 2 to 3 months. You ain't making the top 4, Man City. Wow. That's big. That's a big claim. This is, as an Arsenal fan, how worried should I be with Arteta not on the touchline tomorrow?
No, I don't think you should be that worried. Not as worried as I would have been in years gone by. I think we've got so many leaders on the pitch now that it shouldn't be too much of a problem.
Kesh, how do you pronounce that?
Tank shit.
I'm gonna say K. K says here, love this cheating history lesson I'm getting today on your channel. Love the stream. Cheers. Thank you,
Me
bro.
too.
But
Me too.
it's been great.
I'm going to use this in my deflections, like George. When George deflects off Spurs, I'm going to start using some of these lessons, man.
This will make LB feel. This is going to make LB feel so much better when he's having to travel to Plymouth away in 2 years' time. He's going to love it.
Theory, can we ban Kate for disrespecting the super chatter? Since we're banning people here for disrespect.
This here says, is Basuma still better than Rice?
Yes, I think he's still a better DM.
Who said that? No, who said that?
Who did say that?
I said that. I still stand by it. I think he's a better DM than Rice.
There we go.
Rice is a better 8.
Oh, 1990 October, Arsenal deducted 2 points and United 1 point for a brawl. That's not cheating. That's just having a Barney, though. That's having a Barney. That's having a Barney. Time for golden goals, people. Time for golden goals today. Got a new design now. It's a little bit more in keeping with what we're doing here. First game to talk about. If you haven't downloaded the app yet, get it done. It's free to play. You can win 2 million quid if you get the 6 games tomorrow predicted correct. We're starting off with Brighton versus who are they playing? Burnley. I got the abbreviation. That's it. Burnley. I've gone 3-1 in this game. Don went with 2-1. Lewis, you've gone with 3-0. You think that'll be an easy victory there for Brighton?
Yeah, man. Burnley just ain't looking great in it. So yeah, I'm gonna go for they're at home as well. Home advantage. So yeah, I'm gonna go for 3-0.
There we go.
Actually, can I just say I'm actually pretty confident that I could win the 2-0 this week.
Your predictions look pretty good, and you've predicted the United win, so it's decent. Kate, you've gone 3-0 to Brighton as well.
Yeah, I just think Burnley are a bit pony. So
yeah, I agree on that one. Rory, you've gone 3-1, same as me to Brighton.
Yeah, Brighton have been they'll win, but they've been a bit leaky at the back. So
yeah, I get that. Next game, Man United versus Bournemouth. Rory, you've gone 1-1 in that game.
Yeah. I think look, Bournemouth are in form. And I feel like the way they'll set up defensively is the sort of thing that again you've struggled with this season. So yeah, 1-0.
Everybody else, Don, Lewis, Kate, Roms, KJ, everyone else has gone 2-1 Man United. I've gone for a different flavour. I've gone 3-0 United.
That's because you're biased.
No, I'm going for. I think we'll score 3 goals tomorrow. I think we'll score 3 goals.
People are right. Bournemouth have been. Bournemouth are in. I think some of the best form in the Premier League right now. Like,
yeah, they are
winning games, and especially away from home, they've been real good.
I know, I think they're going to open up because of it and be a little confident. And I think we'll pounce. And I just think we'll score 3.
You know, we have the least goals in the top 8.
Okay.
We have 18. Everyone else has over 30. Where are we getting 3 goals from?
What's the game tomorrow?
Chelsea opened up and we didn't score. So what difference does that make?
Yeah, I understand. I understand that. But look, if we don't score the 3 goals, it will be because we've missed the big chances. I believe we'll create the chances. So I'm going 3-0 in that game. Wolves, Nottingham Forest. Lewis, you've gone 2-1 to Wolves in that game, mate.
Yeah. Wolves been good at home to at the Molineux. They've actually played some good stuff. I actually think that Gary O'Neill's getting massively under. Maybe he's not getting like the full results, but some of the football they're playing is insane. They just can't score goals. Obviously, it's been a mad week for Forest. So yeah, I'm gonna give it to Wolves just 2-1. Yeah.
Interestingly, on this, I've just stupidly shut down what's in front of me. You've gone for a big scoreline, Rory, in this.
Yeah, 4-2 Wolves. Forest, I mean, they held 5 against Fulham. I just think they're woeful at the back, but I can see them grabbing a couple of goals. And I feel like you've just got to put something rogue in there if you're going to win that 2 million.
That's why I've done 3-0 United. Just something. But you've got to, because last week I thought I was onto a winner, and then Burnley scored like 5 goals, and it's like, right, bet off. It's
You
done.
mocked me for saying Fulham would win 3-0 and they won 5-0.
I know. So you were wrong, weren't you? I was mocking
you.
No, you were closer than me. You were. Everton, Chelsea. Kate, you've gone 3-1 Everton.
Yeah, I think Everton are really. Sean Dyche has kind of galvanised them as it's us against the world, and they look like they're full of confidence. And Chelsea just looks shot of confidence. So yeah, I think it'll be a comfortable Everton win tomorrow.
Does anyone see Chelsea doing it? George, Staffy, anyone see Chelsea getting a win away at Goodison Park?
Nah. Chelsea have been like there's. I'm not going to sit here and say that. I don't think Everton are going to blow them away. I don't think it's going to be anything like that. But Everton have been a good run of form. I think since they've had the point deduction, they've really started to turn it around. Dwight McNeil, Sean Dyche's man. So I see them scoring a few, but I think Everton, probably.
Against us, if we didn't defend the way we did in a low block, they had so many chances. I forgot how many it was. I think it was 24 chances, something like that. If we didn't defend in a low block, and obviously we got the goals from overhead kick and moments of brilliance, and then the way they played against Newcastle, you look at them and you're like, they're very dangerous at home right now. You can tell that they're hurt, and as George just said, ever since the point deduction, they actually been good before it, but it gave them the extra fuel after. And if they mold Newcastle like that the other day, I can only imagine what they're gonna do to that soft Chelsea midfield. They're gonna rip it apart.
The fact that not a single person here has predicted Chelsea to win, including Don, pretty much
Don,
just like that says what that says what crisis.
That might be the first time I've ever seen Don not predict his team to win. By the way,
you know when you predict a draw, is that that's you trying to be optimistic because you know you're gonna lose. I do that with United. I usually say 1-1 when I think we're gonna lose. That's
you know Don as well. Ever since give us a victory. Give us a ever since that song came out, Don's he's humbled now. He's done. I think he's done. I'm going 2-1 Everton. I think Everton are going to nick it. I really do. They look so good. They look so galvanized as a team. Do you know what's funny? When Man United played them, everyone's like, "Oh, what a terrible time." I think it took that game and a bit of time for them to settle. I'm so glad we actually played them straight away because I think they're looking decent now. And again, they're actually better than Chelsea this season. They would be a point ahead of them without that deduction. So this isn't like a relegation team playing Chelsea. It's 2 mid-table sides. The next game, Fulham versus West Ham. Everybody's pretty much gone for 3 people gone for a draw. Kate, Rory, you've gone for 2-1 and 3-1 respectively in that game to Fulham.
Yeah, because it'd be just like us to lose to West Ham and then West Ham lose to Fulham. That's exactly why I've done it, because that's just Spursy all over.
Yeah, I don't think West Ham's position in the table is good, but I don't think they've been playing that well. Fulham have scored like 8 goals in the last 2 games. They've suddenly started flying. So yeah,
interesting. I'm going 2-2 in that game. Same as you Lewis as well, right? You're going little Desmond. I'm going 2-2. The big one. Luton, Manchester City. Hey, you're going with a narrow 2-1 win. 2-1.
Me.
City, yeah.
Yeah, because I think, do you know what? I think Luton are underestimated at home. I really do. I think their ground's quite intimidating because of where it is, how it is. And I think people just assume they'll go there and get an easy game. And it's shown this season that that's not the case. And City just don't look the City of old. So I do think they'll win it, but I think it'll be tighter than everyone expects.
Fair dues. Lou, you've gone with 3-0. You seem confident in that prediction.
Yeah, but it's not like we're gonna blow them away. Yeah, I mean, a couple scrappy goals maybe. And if he plays the team that's been playing recently with Alvarez in midfield, then yeah, we're probably not going to see that. But if he picks a team that I said to use before, yeah, my refreshed Manchester City 11, and we just go out there and perform, we'll win the game. But whether or not he's going to do that. So I don't know.
Come on,
I hear
Luke.
that. Can anyone see Luton getting a draw, grabbing a win, maybe?
Nah. Man City are they love beating the small teams, innit? So that's all they beat this season. So they're just
Tom's
gonna go there,
predicted a draw, isn't
put
he?
4 or 5
Tom
past
Little
them.
has. Yeah,
They
sorry.
need to build their confidence up.
Yeah, Tom Little's gone with a 1-1. When I saw the City didn't win in 4, I looked at their fixture, saw it was a way to like Luton. I went, I thought it was going to be like a decent one. I've actually gone with a big City win. I've gone 4-1 City. I think City are just gonna. I know they're hard to beat, but I looked at when Arsenal played them, when Chelsea played them, when Spurs played them. All those teams should have put. I mean, Arsenal did score 4 goals. All those teams should have scored 4, 5, 6 goals. Especially in the first half. And I just think there'll be a reaction. I think they'll score lots of goals. I think it'll be one of them. You might even find Luton score first in it, but I think City will just blow them away in the end. AMT says Luton's field is horrible. Well, maybe they'll go up to, maybe, you know what I mean? It's that they'll go there. Maybe AFTV lot can go there and dig it up tonight. They all live in Luton, didn't they? So maybe they can go and get that done and see what happens. But yeah, people, make sure you get Golden Goals downloaded. You have until... I want to check the deadline on this. I think the deadline's 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. So you've got until 3 p.m. just before kickoff tomorrow to get all your predictions in. Remember, it's free to play. You don't need to deposit any money on BetMGM to play Golden Goals. It's free every single match week to use. And if you get all 6 right, it's £2 million tax-free money. So go and get yourself signed up now. Why would you not? We have a super chat here that says, Terry, I will appreciate if you could bring on Lee, Sava, and Johnny Minerals and call it London Rivalry. That would be a mad stream. I think maybe I'm going to do that for a straight facts, all 3 of them together. I don't know how much talking, I don't know how much hosting I'll get to do. But there we go.
We still have a bet on who walks out first with the as well.
You know, we're not going to be able to hear anything because all of them need their own, 90% of airtime. We're not going to hear anything. It's going to be shouting over each other. And Terry's going to
I can imagine. Look, I want to thank everybody that has tuned in. My mouse is now frozen on my screen. I don't know why. Here we go. I want to thank everybody that's tuned in today, everyone that's hit the like button, all of the subscribers, everybody as well every week who does the super chats. It means so much to us. It really, really does. Until next time, everybody, look after yourselves. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. KJ, can you do me a favor? It's not letting me click on the end stream. Can you do it for us, please, mate? And I'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace. I don't know if KJ heard me or not.
Well, we might be here for a while, guys.
It happened to me early in the week.
Yeah, it's you know, like when your thing wants to kill the page and it says wait or kill the page, it's just crashed.
You know the end of the news when